Grimsley and Carrie Davis on the opening drive. Presented by Sumner One.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive. Happy Friday Eve. Great to have you with us on a Thursday morning on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. You can watch us, of course, on the old YouTube. Our Air Alliance, well, I guess YouTube really isn't that old. I mean, it's not as old as radio is. Hi, Brooke. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
Just wanted to
That's a valid point.
relative. But it's there. The Air Alliance Team Studio Cam is there on the YouTube. All you need to do is go to youtube.com and type in 101 ESPN STL. It's 7 o'clock, and your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Super Bowl champ, Carrie Davis, Randy Carricker. How are we doing, kids?
Doing wonderful.
Everybody good?
Doing
What did we
great.
watch for sports last night?
I watched a little NBA.
What'd you think of Wembanyama?
Wembanyama was he was slow to start the game off. He got in foul trouble. I thought he performed really well in that fourth quarter. 9 points. You saw the first half. He took 4 shots, but they were all threes, which I thought was a bit intriguing. But when he came back in the fourth quarter, you could see a little bit more of what he's able to do. Now he has to stay out of foul trouble because that's problematic if you if you're 5 fouls, and I think he only played like 23 minutes due to foul trouble. But I think the bar is set at what LeBron James did in his first game, where he scored 25 points, I believe, had like 7 or 8 or 9 assists. He didn't look like a rookie. LeBron didn't in his first game ever straight out of high school. Wembanyama, he's had some game, but it's going to be a bit of a slower process than it was for what I saw LeBron James in his first game.
His wingspan is just
Like a
just
praying
see,
mantis.
it
You
doesn't
want to
look
buy
real.
raffle tickets with his wingspan
Yeah.
for $20, right?
Yes. I mean, his
him with
wingspan,
me.
he doesn't even look real. And I saw some videos, too, of just his flexibility, too, for his height is very surprising to see.
It's amazing. So here's what we got coming up on this show. We are going to head into the Blues booth with the Hall of Famer Bernie Federko at 8:15. Jeremy Rutherford will join us at 9:15. And then we're going to talk to Andrew Wiebe from MLS Season Pass coming up at 9:30. We know who St. Louis City SC is going to play Sunday night at 9. It's going to be Sporting Kansas. They played the full 90 minutes to a 0-0 draw on the pitch in San Jose last evening. But Sporting Kansas dominated the penalty kicks to seal their spot as the ace seed in the West, and they will take on St. Louis City SC Sunday night at CITYPARK.
Your feelings on penalty kicks to get into the playoffs or win a championship, Randy? No?
I'm okay. I would have rather had a little bit of overtime. But one thing you can't have.
Till there's a winner and there's a loser. What's that? Okay, till there's a winner, a loser, or a tie. You can tie. If you tried to end a game in a tie in the United States, heck, that might be listed in Revelations as the cause for the apocalypse.
So you can't have that.
What is Eli Drinkwitz doing talking there?
What is
It
Eli
sounds just
doing?
like no, it's Ted Lasso.
It is Ted Lasso. But this is the way they have it set up. And the winner of that game, that match, has to come to St. Louis after playing on Wednesday evening and play here on Sunday night. And you're running, what are you running, Matthew? Like 6 miles if you're a soccer player?
6 to 8.
6 to 8 miles in a game. I wouldn't run that far if I was playing soccer. But those guys are. So you want to preserve their legs a little bit so you don't really care about the integrity of the rules of the game at that point.
Okay. All right. I was just checking.
What do you think?
I think you should play till the end.
Play the sport, right?
Play the game.
Play it into
I
the
mean,
end.
for playoffs in other sports, you don't have
don't change the rules.
You don't change the rules. For regular season, you do. Football, they change the rules and they can end in a tie. But in the playoffs, they're going to play until there's a winner.
Hey, yeah, best person wins.
I'm excited about it. I know that this will be a very tough test, but I like that this is a budding rivalry that you have between the two clubs and that you're going to be facing each other. Now, the 9 p.m. start, that's something that is not exactly the best. I'm not looking forward to that. I actually went over to CITYPARK yesterday to talk to Adeniran and Nielsen about everything. And Nielsen has 2 kids, and he was like, well, I'm going to let them skip school, essentially, the next day.
Good.
Nice.
So that they can stay up late and see it. But I think the biggest thing here is that they'll be able to play here at home for that first match.
Right.
I think that that's really important because home field advantage really does matter. And just talking to the guys yesterday, because sometimes I wonder if it's just a little cheesy playing into if the fans really do matter in some of these situations. And they both said, without a doubt, that they feel like, even Adeniran said that he felt like the fans accounted for 50% of the energy that they needed for some of the wins at home this season.
That's incredible.
Fans definitely play a huge part in the energy that a team has. I mean, if you have a fan base that is loud at the right times and screaming and jumping around, it definitely can give you that adrenaline, that added adrenaline that you need sometimes.
And from a TV standpoint, granted, St. Louis City SC and Sporting Kansas is going to be on Apple. But from a TV standpoint, you have to compete with that vaunted Bears-Chargers Sunday night matchup. No. Yikes.
I'm feeling
what are you going to do about that?
Two different viewerships. And you guys tripped me up so much. When I was talking and interviewing with them yesterday for the show that's going to be on Fox 2 with them, we didn't know at the time, obviously, who they were going to be facing. So I said, is there a preference on if you want to face San Jose or Sporting and I almost said Kansas, and because I didn't want to be too disrespectful, but I should have played into it a little bit more. But I was just like, Sporting KC.
Yeah. Because you never know if they'll
KC.
get traded to KC or anything, and you don't want to have that.
And then one day that's played like a million times all over social media.
You know where you stand. I mean, you're on your team side until you're not on that team side. Yeah.
The Blues are at Calgary tonight. Pregame at 7, action at 8 with Curbs and Joey here on 101 ESPN. So Coach Craig Berube said that there might be some changes up front and on the blue line tonight. And Brooke, you noted that yesterday in practice or in training, they had Scott Perunovich participating in the top 6.
Well, Craig Berube hinted toward that there's going to be some changes. And it seems like when it comes to the top 2 lines, the top 2 forward lines, that's not exactly going to change. You're still going to have Brandon Saad and you're going to have Pavel Buchnevich on that second line. But most notably, Scott Perunovich was paired with Tyler Tucker, while Robert Bortuzzo skated alongside Marco Scandella. And Berube kept hinting towards some changes, and it sounds like that's where we're going to see those changes. So we might possibly be seeing Scott Perunovich here soon.
That'd be interesting. Now, the Blues are 5 games in, 2-2-1. They're a point out of a wild card spot. They're win 2 points out of the 3rd spot in the Central Division. And obviously, when you're 2-2-1, there are things you like and things you're not going to like. So, Chief, what are you thinking so far?
Yeah, I think our rush game has been really good. We're creating a lot of chances off the rush. We could have finished 2 in the first period there where, it's a different game. And then I think our D-zone coverage has been good. We gave up the 2 goals in the second. I wasn't happy with those. That's missed coverage on those plays. But overall, we're keeping it to the outside. We're not giving up odd man rushes, which is good. We got to continue to do that. Last time we gave up 0 odd man rushes in a game. So there's a lot of good stuff, but, a lot of room for improvement too.
There is, and that's one of the great things about playing 82 games and playing 6 months, more than 6 months, because you play October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, playing 8 months, is that you have a chance to get better and ascend. You aren't a finished product after 5 games, hopefully.
I think there's definitely room to improve. We talked about it, the amount of time in the offensive zone for the Blues. I think that number needs to tick up a little bit, and they need to take care of the puck and just do a better job. So hopefully, they're starting to correct some things. I understand the defense, but I understand if you give up more shots, if you give up that many shots, you're going to have a few go in, and they have to shoot the puck on the offensive zone, in the offensive zone. They are getting opportunities, and at times it feels like they're just trying to be too perfect instead of just letting it rip. Sometimes you just got to let it rip and see where it goes.
Yeah, that's the thing is that was a season low, which I know obviously the season just started, but still a season low 20 shots for the Blues.
Yeah.
And that not testing the other goaltender is something that I think that you're noticing here early on. And it just freaks me out a little bit because it almost like takes me back to earlier this season with the Cardinals. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen here because this is a very small sample size with the Blues, but it makes me feel anxious. And I can feel like a lot of the fan base is feeling that way too, where it's like you had with the Cardinals where, it's early. It's early. Everything is early. And then you're like, this is kind of getting behind us, or we're getting behind here.
Yeah, Brooke, that's why I started the way I did, because if the Blues win tonight, they're in the 3rd playoff spot in the Central Division.
Exactly.
1 win.
Yeah.
So
it's close.
It's not that bad yet.
No. But there is some troubling moments.
Yeah.
The power play definitely needs to improve. That's great that Pavel Buchnevich was finally able to get them a power play goal. And just fixing these things, the offensive zone time definitely is something that has to be figured out here.
Yep. A couple of baseball notes for you. Actually, 3. The World Series starts tomorrow. It'll be Arizona and Texas. Game 1 tomorrow night and Saturday night. Off on Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Off on Thursday, and then back at it for potential games 6 and 7 in Texas on the following Friday and Saturday. Dusty Baker telling USA Today that he is going to retire, so the Astros are in the market for a new manager, and thank goodness that Dusty Baker was able to get that World Series win last year.
Yeah, I'm happy he was. I'm sure that made it a little bit easier to go ahead and call it quits, because that's something you strive for. You've been there, had been there a few times, hadn't won, and finally got a chance to win it last year. Was hoping to repeat this year, but just couldn't beat that Texas Rangers team. They were much better. But good for Dusty.
Yeah.
I mean, he has coached some of the greatest players to ever play the game, and you have to be just happy for him to have won that championship and finally get a chance to retire and rest.
Bonds, Harper, Altuve, Sosa. He's had a pretty good run there.
Yeah, he had some guys.
That's just Jeff Kent. He was able to make that Jeff Kent, Barry Bonds thing
the
work.
beef.
in San Francisco. And then SNY reporting that the Yankees have had preliminary discussions with the Padres about trading for Juan Soto, who's heading into the last year of his contract. We know Scott Boras is going to look for the big money, and the offense, amazingly, for the Yankees was bad last year. They missed Giancarlo Stanton a lot. He was hurt. Judge was hurt a lot. They haven't had their guys. Can you imagine putting Juan Soto, if they're healthy, between Judge and Stanton in a lineup?
Oh, my goodness.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. And the Padres, sometimes it doesn't work when you spend all kinds of money and you try to win that way and try to buy a team. The Padres are going to slash their payroll by, well, it was at nearly 300, and it's going to be less than 200 million apparently at the start of next season.
How much do you guys think, with the whole situation, all the talk about AJ Preller and the toxic environment, how much do you think that also plays into the clubhouse culture that you were hearing about this season?
I think that's a huge part of it. And Juan Soto, by all accounts, is a really good guy, but it's really hard to have a general manager like that builds that culture and probably fosters that culture a little bit by his presence in the clubhouse. And then you have a lot of people that know they aren't going anywhere. Machado knows he's not going anywhere. Tatis knows he's not going anywhere. Bogarts knows he's not going anywhere. Musgrove and Darvish know they're not going anywhere. So if you don't want to have chemistry, if you're not worried about the chemistry being changed, then there's a chance that could happen. And there's a lot of egos. When you have that much money on your roster, there's also a lot of egos.
They have to hire the right manager for that situation. That you're going to have to figure out, who's going to be able to manage all of those personalities, all of those people that have that amount of money, and how they're going to go about that. As far as AJ Preller being the issue in the clubhouse, it would depend on how, I guess, present he is every single day talking to those guys. General managers generally aren't, day to day, unless you're Jerry Jones, who is the owner and general manager.
By all accounts, Preller is.
If you're in the mix and in the middle of everything, then that can be problematic. And guys have to, you have to compartmentalize and figure out how to work around it.
And that's what the reports are, is that Preller was micromanaging everything. So he definitely was possibly affecting things in the clubhouse. So even if you get rid of Melvin, what exactly will change by bringing in a new manager? Even if you're Mike Schultz, say that you get hired, what exactly can you change if Preller is still micromanaging?
Tell him to get the hell out.
That's what you do. You tell him to get the hell out.
That's the only way.
And then he'll go through another philosophical difference.
Yep,
Fire
that's
him.
exactly
Oh,
what'll
okay.
happen.
But it'll take 2 or 3 years before it happens. So you got a couple of years.
Right. We're off and running here on 101 ESPN, and we've got Sick of It coming up. Get your text in to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, 314-399.
Yo-ho.
Sick of It. Next on 101 ESPN.
by Sumner One.
Let's get your text in. What do we got going on?
Brooke she's a little crazy, but I love it.
Oh my God, crazy.
It's cool. I mean, we are. Hey, nothing against it, man. We're all a little crazy.
We have interesting side conversations, and sometimes I just want to know about medieval things.
So what you're saying is we need a podcast.
Yes. Just
Side
to talk
conversations.
about everything.
Our thoughts.
Yep. And
we'll see how long that lasts.
Okay, guys, I have something that I'm sick of. And I say this with all due respect, okay?
Okay.
When the Cardinals go out and pick up people like Sela and Jakub Barnes and Jose Fermin, it's nice for those players. I'm glad that they have jobs and that they're employed. Yesterday, we get a text that the Cardinals have picked up Buddy Kennedy on waivers from the Oakland Athletics. Okay, the Buddy Kennedy put this in a little perspective, okay? Buddy Kennedy is claimed on waivers from the Oakland Athletics. The Oakland Athletics finished 6 games behind the Kansas City Royals in the overall Major League standings. The Kansas City Royals were number 29. The Oakland Athletics were 50 and 112. Buddy Kennedy got DFA'd. He couldn't be among their top 40 players.
Not great.
I am sick of the Cardinals picking up guys like this, the low-hanging fruit, rather than the high-hanging fruit. And I understand that there is work to do and that the offseason is long. But I'm kind of tired of the Jose Fermins and Buddy Kennedys of the world, rather than the rumors of the Juan Sotos and the Aaron Nolas of the world.
I can respect that. That would be a little bit frustrating, wouldn't it?
Sick of it.
Yeah, I can understand it. Yeah.
When I got that text yesterday, all I saw, because when they send you like the group mass text message, the Cardinals do, it has like Cardinals transactions.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? I was like, wait, who? What? And who knows? Maybe it's a diamond in the rough.
Who's this guy?
Yeah, he's 25 years old, and he went to the same high school as Mike Trout, so you got that going for you, which is
Hey,
nice.
that's
Did
big.
they play together?
It's huge.
Were they teammates?
No, not really.
Mike is a little older.
Mike's a little bit older.
Okay, about 4 or 5 years.
Here's the thing, though. On opening day, if he does make the squad, as we have the player, maybe in a pregame, not player introductions, pregame, don't you have to get him a Buddy the Elf costume?
No,
Randy.
no.
Buddy, come on, buddy.
If they're playing in October next year, maybe around Halloween,
Okay,
possibly.
I'm with it. I'm with you there. If he's a star.
You know what I'm sick of? I am sick of grown men getting on the internet and disparaging children. There was an issue yesterday. There was a commitment yesterday made by a young man, probably supposed to be one of the best times in his young adult life, in his young life before he becomes an adult, where he decided to choose one school over another. And then the school that he did not choose has random fans just talking so bad about this young man. Now, here's the thing. Random fans, here's what you need to know about life. Sometimes things come back around, and sometimes things matter. And if you take care of your business and if you are respectful, maybe things come back to you. But if you don't, it never will. So this team that shall remain to be named, I don't need to name them. They know who you are.
It's Mizzou.
It is Missouri. All right, thank you, Randy. Missouri.
And it's Ryan Wingo who picked Texas.
Wingo who chose Texas over Mizzou. Congratulations to him. Shame on all of you that decided to talk badly about this young man. And this is a little bit personal for me, Randy, because I went through this, and I had a young man that committed to a certain school and then decided to go to another school. And that school was Mizzou. And so that young man had to deal with the same internet trolls that talked bad and wished this young man harm, wish him not a great career. You don't win when you do that. It is a terrible, terrible thing. And you know, if I'm the head coach of a program, I would have something to say about that. Hey, that's not what we do. We don't worry about who's not coming. We worry about who's here. If that man chose to go elsewhere, that's what it is. Be better. because there are going to be other young men that have to make that decision in the future. And if this is how you respond, I don't know. Good luck.
And I'm sure it happens with every school that has a jilted.
If it was Illinois, I would be saying the same thing. This is not a Mizzou thing. These are young men making a decision that will alter their lives. Picking a college, picking your spouse, those are decisions that last a lifetime and have a huge impact on the trajectory of your life. So this is a big deal for him. And for people you're almost giving him a reason. That's why I didn't go. Good.
Well,
go ahead.
And it's probably the same group of people, if you went through their timelines, that were ripping Brady Cook. So now the guy chooses to catch passes from Brady Cook rather than Arch Manning? Really? So you can't have it both ways, right? If Brady Cook sucks, why would a wide receiver want to go and catch? This is then. If Brady Cook sucks, then why would you want a wide receiver to go and try to catch passes from him?
Exactly.
You're the ones that said it, not me.
Yeah, mic drop CD. I mean, that was fantastic because that is exactly my whole point too, is that these are young men making decisions. It's their life.
Yeah.
It's their life. It's their decision. It's their choice. And to be an adult, getting upset about what a teenager does, and if it works out, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. You just have to move on from it. When I was at Arkansas, I experienced, and just to show you that this is a lot of fan bases that overreact about this. So Malik Monk, you guys all know Malik Monk. Yeah. He was thinking about, is between Arkansas and Kentucky when he was choosing where he was going to go play college basketball. Arkansas or Kentucky? What? It was fantastic that Arkansas was in the conversation. He obviously went on and picked Kentucky. Arkansas fans were so angry, like belligerently angry at Malik Monk and his family. And I kept getting all these emails, and I saw all these people saying things to him like, how could he do this? How could he turn his back on his home state? Yes, somebody may be born and raised somewhere, but that doesn't mean that the state raised you. You don't owe the state anything.
Exactly.
And it's fantastic that Mizzou was in the conversation. And you never know, because even his dad said, did you hear what his dad said to Frank Cusimano? He said December 20th is when things are official.
Right.
So, I mean, there is possibly still time. And NIL is the name of the game right now. And that's the way that it goes. I just think that speaking so poorly about a young man is a really, really bad look. And I hope that people get past that. What I'm sick of, guys, is people saying that this World Series is going to be boring and that you don't want to see these two teams. You don't want to see the Diamondbacks and Rangers face off against each other. Are these the same people that have been saying, I'm tired of seeing the same teams face each other in the World Series over and over again? I'm excited about some new blood. I'm excited about what the Rangers have going. As you guys know, I've been talking about the Rangers for a while. I really like what Chris Young has done over there. It felt like you're bringing a lot of baseball minds back, and it's very exciting to see. And the Diamondbacks are young and exciting. And they deserve to be here. They beat the Brewers, they beat the Dodgers, and they beat the Phillies. There was no way that many people were predicting that they would be able to do this. So I'm excited about this matchup, and I hope other people are too. And I'm just sick of people saying, oh, this is going to be boring TV. This is going to be bad for TV ratings. Major League Baseball is doing just fine, and I think that this will be a very exciting matchup to see.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun too. All right, Matthew, what do you got on the text line there?
I'm sick of these new baseball bats for 12-year-olds costing upwards of 400 alloys. Alloy schmalloy, composite, phooey. Give me that Easton Black Magic from back in the day anytime. And also, get off my lawn!
I will agree with that.
Roy Hobbs just made his own bat from a tree that got struck by lightning. So just do that.
Go get one.
Yep.
Get you one.
I saw a comedian talking about it, and he was like, why do we have all these expensive bats? I didn't realize how expensive it was. Why can't they just share, maybe?
Yeah, good idea.
Is that a good idea? No? I'm so sorry.
Brooke. No, it's a thing. When you're a kid and you have a kid on your team who has like a $500 bat and you have the cheap ones with dents in them, there's kids who are going to be like, no other kid is allowed to use my bat. That's
win?
my bat, and no one's allowed to use it.
I'm trying to win.
That probably comes from the parents that paid $500 for that bat.
True.
I mean, if I paid $500 for a bat, I don't think
parents
four
tell
kids.
me how my bat's going to get played with.
Maybe they should.
Yeah, they are.
Maybe they should
That's why they're
crowdsource.
parents.
If the kids are able to use the same bat.
Now we're talking.
5 parents contribute $100 each.
Is there some statistics that show that getting your kid a $500 bat that could lead to more success in the long run?
Probably helps.
Adolis Garcia didn't even play baseball until he was a teenager. He was wrestling before that.
You know what I think helps? Hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
That helps.
I don't give a damn what match you got. He can't
hit it.
Good point.
But if it means I get to watch my kid, swing the bat kind of slow, but the ball somehow shoots off it, and I get to be like, look at my 4th grader go. It's going to make me feel better as a parent, so why not spend the money? Woohoo.
Clearly.
I'm sick of not being able to watch the NLCS games because I don't have cable or listen to a terrestrial radio station. Would I pay $10 or $20 to stream it? In a heartbeat, but I don't have the option.
Sorry
to hear that.
Yeah, I watched every game.
You can listen to the opening drive, and he'll give you the updates.
It was
in the morning.
I feel bad that if you don't have the ability, the wherewithal to watch the games, I guarantee you can head on over to the Fenton Bar and Grill and watch every single game at the Fenton Bar and Grill. It's there, and they have delicious food and wonderful people to serve you.
That was a nice plug.
Cha-ching.
Sick of it. I'm sick of the show laying out solutions to turn the Cardinals organization around, and apparently Mo never listens to it. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Gotta do better. We're up here. We're giving you
free advice
day by day, breaking this thing down, giving you the information that can help.
And obviously, Kerry, we've thought about it longer than him.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just give me 24 hours. Just give me. Let me walk in that door for 24 hours.
That's all you need. You'll have it.
I'll have them on their way.
First thing you're doing. First thing.
Very first thing.
You know what I'm doing.
First thing you're doing.
You know what I'm doing. I'm calling the owner and saying, okay, we got to change things around a little bit philosophically. We got to be more like the Braves. We've got to be more like the Diamondbacks. We've got to be aggressive, and we need to change the way we're doing our baseball business.
I'm going to throw out a secret really quick. I'm sick of the people on opposite end of the spectrum on this whole Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift thing. If you're like, I can't watch another moment of them, I'm sick of you. And if you're also on the other side, like, she shouldn't be dating a football player. He's toxic because he's a football player.
Oh no, that's just lazy.
Why do people care so much? I don't understand. They're 2 young people. Let them be happy. Why are people so bothered by other people's happiness?
Here's the thing.
I know the reasons, because they're unhappy in their own lives.
Well, no, because they're invested. If you're a football fan, that's what the NFL, every sport wants you to be emotionally invested. Taylor Swift has a lot of people that are emotionally invested in her. That's why people care so much, and that's a good thing for Kelce, for the Chiefs, and for Taylor Swift. That's not a bad thing, and it shouldn't be a polarizing issue. It's 2 people that you're emotionally invested in, and you should be striving and rooting for their happiness.
There you go. It's beautiful. It's a love story. I sent you guys a picture of Taylor Swift kissing Travis Kelce's cheek the other day. I was waiting for CD to respond.
It's
CD doesn't love, and that's the problem.
Listen, that looks like a picture you put up on the gram just to say, "Hey, look at us."
Definitionally, yes.
That didn't move me.
It didn't move you.
No.
What do you need?
I told you.
You need
wedding.
That's a ridiculous expectation of 2 young people.
No, it's not. No, it's not. If you want me to believe that this is not just a scam, that they're scamming us, that I don't. Yeah, no.
Here's the thing. It's probably the most recognizable person in the world right now, and one of the 2 most visible NFL players, along with his quarterback, right?
Yeah.
You try to watch a sporting event that doesn't have Travis Kelce in a commercial. And
he's everywhere.
Yeah, and so is Taylor Swift. So if they're visible, then I think it's just natural that people are going to glom on to what they're doing. So I don't have any problem with it.
I think it's beautiful.
Yes.
I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I can't wait for Travis Kelce to become Mr. Swift.
Oh, yeah. He would like being swifter. He would like to be as swift as Tyreek Hill.
You're way too happy and positive in life, Brooke.
Oh, my God.
Coming up on 101 ESPN, both the Rangers and Diamondbacks lost 100 games 2 years ago. Is it reasonable to think the Cardinals can rebound quickly from losing 90? That's next on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Last night was the MLS's wild card battles for the 8th seed in the East and Western Conference, and in the West to face off against St. Louis City in round one. Sporting Kansas City beat up on San Jose Earthquakes, and they took it to penalty shots where Kansas City dominated again. That game will be on Sunday at 9 p.m. It will be the best of 3, game 1 at CITYPARK here in St. Louis. Also coming up tonight, Blues back in action on their Canadian road trip. They face off against the Calgary Flames. That's an 8 p.m. puck drop. You can catch the pregame show right here starting at 7 p.m. on 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
2 years ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks went 52-110, and their ordinary, everyday group of players included right fielder Pavin Smith, center fielder Ketel Marte, left fielder David Peralta, third baseman Eduardo Escobar, shortstop Nick Ahmed, second baseman Josh Van Meter, first baseman Christian Walker, and catcher Carson Kelly. The other night in Game 7 against the Philadelphia Phillies, they played Marte at second base. Corbin Carroll, a rookie, was in center field. Gabriel Marino, a rookie, was the catcher. Christian Walker was still at first. Tommy Pham had been acquired. He played right field. Lourdes Gurriel, acquired during last offseason, was their left fielder. Evan Longoria was their DH. Eduardo Rivera was at third, and Gerardo Perdomo was at short. Their starting pitcher was Brandon Pfaadt. A couple of years ago, their typical starting rotation, and obviously every team deals with injuries during the course of the season. But the starters for Arizona were Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, who are still there, Madison Bumgarner, Taylor Widener, and Luke Weaver, who obviously are not still there. The Arizona Diamondbacks went from 102 losses 2 years ago to winning 84 and going to the World Series this year. This year's starting rotation, in addition to Gallen and Kelly, included Ryan Nelson, Pfaadt, and Tommy Henry. Zach Davies was also around. And as we mentioned, their lineup has changed dramatically. The same exact things have happened for the Texas Rangers this year. They have almost a completely different lineup than they featured when they lost 100 games, 102 games to be specific, in 2021. And they are on their way to the World Series as well. The Cardinals lost 90 games this year. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that if the Cardinals get really aggressive, that they can turn things around like Arizona, which I think is a more realistic model for the Cardinals, or Texas. The reason that the Texas Rangers aren't as realistic for the Cardinals model is because they went out and spent $325 million on a shortstop. They spent a couple $100 million on a second baseman. They went out and spent a couple $100 million on a starting pitcher in Jacob deGrom. They traded for Max Scherzer. They were ultra aggressive financially. I don't see the Cardinals swimming in those financial waters, but could the Cardinals theoretically do what the Arizona Diamondbacks have done and rebuild your rotation in your bullpen? By the way, the Diamondbacks bullpen from 2 years ago is 100% changed. So could the Cardinals do that? Yes.
The Cardinals, I mean, they don't have, I don't think they're as far off as we'd like to think. It's really the pitching. I mean, you got the young outfielder, you got the young shortstop, you got the two corner infielders that are superstars, you got a catcher that if you help him out and assist him, he can be, he's an all-star, has been, he can be really good. So what you got a center fielder, maybe, if that's Tommy Edman playing every single day. I think there are a few spots that you have to solidify. Center field, I think Lars is your left fielder, and I think second base. So other than that, you're pretty sound in terms of position players. Your problem is the pitching, and you're going to have to go out and spend that $100+ million, that $200 million, if you want to get that ace. And are the Cardinals willing to do that, or are they going to stand pat and say, you know what, we thought about it. The Arizona Diamondbacks didn't spend a lot of money. We got guys that we think can fill this void. if they could fill the void, they would have filled it at some point last year. I think they would have shown. Yeah, there was plenty of opportunities for Liberatore to take the reins as a starting five pitcher, as Dakota Hudson to take the reins, for Tekoa, or is it not Roby?
Yep,
Tekoa Roby to take that spot. There were plenty of opportunities, and I don't feel like those opportunities came to fruition just yet. So. Maybe you go into spring training and still trust those guys, but I don't know how.
Brooke, 2 years ago, the Diamondbacks had 38 pitchers that pitched for them. They also had 3 position players. Of those 38 pitchers that pitched for them in 2021, only 4 remain. And those are Mantiply in the bullpen, Ginkel in the bullpen, and the aforementioned 2 starters, Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. 4 out of 38 pitchers that pitched for them 2 years ago.
I would like to see, in a perfect world, where the Cardinals can kind of take away lessons from both of these teams. With the Rangers, I know that they spent a lot of money, and as you mentioned, Rainey, were ultra aggressive, but I think that's what you also want to see when you're going out and getting some of these starting pitchers. After a season like this, and you know that pitching is such a deficiency in your starting rotation specifically, you have to be aggressive. So I would like them to have that kind of aggressive nature when going out and pursuing these free agent starting pitchers specifically. And then also from the Diamondbacks, investing in their young core. And I've talked about this. Corbin Carroll, that contract that they did with him, 8 years, $100 million, over $100 million, I believe. That was a really, really good deal. And he is secure in knowing, okay, I know what my role is. I know that I am secure here. And I think that that's part of what you've seen with some of his success this season. But they really have a lot of controllable contracts. And so the Diamondbacks are really, this is a rebuild that we've seen over the years, but they're also built for more long-term success in the future, because if you look at a lot of their contracts right now, even Marte, I mean, a 5-year, $76 million contract extension that will keep him there through at least 2027. There's a lot of good deals that they have, and that was the forward thinking, I think, is something else that I would like to see the Cardinals do this season, because you have some young talent right here in a Jordan Walker and a Mason Wynn. Maybe there's some ways to work this out and build towards the future there, while also being ultra aggressive in free agency.
And trust your guys to advance at the major league level. The Diamondbacks had 5 different players, 4 really young ones, that played at least 125 games this year. Alec Thomas, Gurriel, who's going to be a free agent after this year, but Perdomo, who played this year at age 23, and Marte, and Christian Walker, who's their veteran at 32 years old. And then they plugged in Gabriel Moreno behind the plate. But the other night, they had 4 guys, 23 or younger, that started in Game 7 against Philadelphia. You have to trust your players. You can't just say, okay, we don't like the way you've hit for the last 12 games, so we're going to send you down and have you work on your launch angle. They didn't do that in Arizona. They let the guys grow at the major league level.
Because if they need help, then that should be provided at the major league level.
Major league level.
Because why would you? I mean, I hope your best coaches aren't in the minor league system. I mean, of course, you're growing and developing at the minor league level, but by the time they get to the bigs, they should be ready to be there, and that should be some minor adjustments. And you should have your best coaches available there to help them with anything.
I think you need to have great coaches throughout the system.
That would be, in a perfect world, yes.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire organization.
Let's do that. So the Cardinals have made one move. Buddy Kennedy is, if you haven't heard, the bulletin, apparently official, Buddy Kennedy is now in the fold for the Cardinals. So that's the first big move. Let's see the next domino to fall for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Are you excited? So people keep texting in that he's Taylor Motter 2.0.
Oh, good. I hope he's got the hair.
Oh, my God.
He's got the hair.
We'll miss Taylor Motter.
Coming up. Oh, yeah, we will. Yeah. Taylor Motter almost got to 200 with the batting average this year.
Oh, man.
Played a lot of positions. Had exquisite hair.
Can you settle
your hair is better, but his hair was exquisite.
Randy, can you settle the debate? Did he hit his weight?
No, he did not. He did not hit his weight. But we're going to remember him because he was a heck of a guy. He was glorious.
That jacket he wore?
Jacket.
The best.
Yeah.
I hope he's a member of the coaching staff next year. Well,
the likelihood is actually very high of that.
Yeah,
I feel like I would definitely bet on that.
Well, at least that means he's not playing. Coming up next on 101. What? Did I say that out loud?
No.
Did I just say that? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
You guys bonded.
We did. That doesn't mean he's a good player. Take it or leave it is coming up. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service 6 line 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Get your TIOLI to us next on 101 ESPN.
You can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Time for TIOLI here on 101 ESPN. Congratulations to LA Rams head coach Sean McVay. He and his wife delivered, actually, the Rams announced on Twitter, LA Rams transactions delivered Jordan John McVay. Take it or leave it, Jordan John McVay winds up being an NFL coach or general manager.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it too.
I'll take it.
Yeah, pretty safe bet, isn't it? The other John McVay was the 49ers general manager when they were winning all those Super Bowls under Bill Walsh, and Sean obviously is doing okay. So I think Jordan is probably pretty well set.
And a John McKay. I don't know.
Oh, John McKay.
Yeah.
And of course, you can't forget, Uncle Kevin and great Uncle Marvin.
Oh, yeah. Uncle Kevin. Yeah, great. Great Uncle Marvin.
It's really more about great Uncle Marvin, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it is.
So, NBA season started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good for everyone. Everyone's excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Bulls took a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder, 124-104. The Bulls had a team meeting after the loss. Take it or leave it. You having team meetings after game one. It's going to be a long season for you. Oh, my God. One game? It's not good enough. We didn't play well enough. We didn't. What? Yeah. You do that after the first game, brother? Yeah. Good luck to those guys.
Why that soon, you think? Like, what could be so egregious? Is something going on in the locker room, or what do you think it could be?
I don't know. I don't know how you're that frustrated after one loss unless it just, you all stink. And just guys did not give effort, which how you don't give effort in game one it's a bit troubling.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Troubling.
Take it or leave it, guys. There is a report that the Cardinals are being tied to a Japanese pitcher, and it's not the one that we have been talking about, Yamamoto, and it's not the other one we've been talking about, Shota. It looks
it's the
like
ultimate one.
It's the ultimate one?
Shohei Ohtani.
Nope, it's not that one either.
Wait, that's all the Japanese pitchers in the world.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
There are no other ones.
I know, it's crazy that there's no other Japanese pitchers available. And I'm not exactly sure because I haven't done my full research on him yet. But Yuki Matsui, I believe, is the one that the Cardinals are being tied to, a reliever. Take it or leave it, that will be the only Japanese pitcher that the Cardinals will get.
Take it. No. Yuki.
I'm going to leave it.
So you're feeling Shota Imanaga?
I'm feeling Shohei Ohtani. No? Are we?
Yeah, no.
I wish. That would make me happy.
Lars came on our show, and he told us how great friends him and Shohei are.
And Yamamoto.
So we go, why not both of them?
Yeah.
They just spend the money.
And then Nolan Arenado and his brother went to Japan with Lars Nootbaar. He didn't tell us that. We were able to see that on social media.
See?
So it sounds like they're doing some
Ohtani's
possible
going to the Dodgers?
No.
No.
Not that kind of recruitment.
Nolan Arenado plays for the Cardinals. For now.
Don't say
that.
There's the operative word.
Don't say that.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Hey,
recruiting for the Cardinals.
We don't make the rules. We didn't make these rumors.
All right, Matthew, what do we have on the text line?
Take it or leave it. There's no starting pitcher worth the money this offseason, so the Cardinals just need to go get another big middle-of-the-order bat.
I think Jordan Montgomery would like to have a word about that. No starting pitchers worth the money.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, worth the money. If Montgomery's asking for 25, is he worth that?
He would have got. You could have paid him 22 earlier this year, I think.
I'm just saying, because of the Shohei thing, because of the Urias thing, there's something that the market's going to get bumped up, and you're going to have to pay more than you would have maybe wanted to. And does that scare the Cardinals away from the big names?
I don't think that another bat will be more valuable to the Cardinals than spending money on a pitcher.
How many bats you need? Well, I guess,
are we a cave?
Here's the thing.
How many bats do we need?
Here's the thing. If you're not going to get pitching, you might as well go get more bats. That way these guys can hit some home runs and keep you in games.
You win with pitching.
Yeah, well.
Ultimately, that's how you win World Series.
Well, Randy, here's the thing. If they would have gotten to the 8 runs that you and I said they needed,
then it would have been easy.
Then they would have won, 90, 95 games.
Take it or leave it. There are people in St. Louis already circling the calendar for Groundhog's Day because I don't like cold.
I'll take it.
It's supposed to be, Iggy was telling me in the break room this morning that it's going to be 40 degrees this weekend.
Great source.
Yeah.
You said great source? I shouldn't believe Iggy and what he said?
Yeah, lows in the 20s next week.
No, it is gonna be rough. It's gonna be like in the 50s and rainy for the game on Sunday night. Okay. No, for the game on Sunday night at CITYPARK. And then we have lows of God, this sucks. We have lows of Monday, lows of 32, 28, 27, 30, and 33 next week. Does that mean that stuff can freeze now?
It is. What month are we in? October?
Yeah, late October.
It's almost November.
October 26th.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So, by the way, I'm looking at the big middle of the order bats. You've got Ohtani. I don't think you're getting him. You've got Michael Conforto, who didn't have a great year. Cody Bellinger. You could go spend a bunch of money on Cody Bellinger.
You could have got him last year, Randy.
Well, I think he wanted to play, though.
Randy, you don't think he'd have played on this team?
Well, the Cardinals weren't prepared to offer him play 150 games.
Who did they think was going to play? And
they were thinking Tyler O'Neill, Dylan Carlson, Lars Nootbaar, Jordan Walker.
And you depended on two of those guys. How many games
and that was in
play?
December that they were doing that.
Yeah, Randy, we knew what we kind of.
I was saying at the time I would have liked to have signed him, but the Cardinals weren't able to guarantee him the playing time.
Take it or leave it, King Henry to the Ravens.
These reports hurt my heart, guys. So what is going on with the Tennessee Titans? I'm going to have to take it because I think that there's something going on there for sure.
I would rather see Barkley to the Ravens. I think that his style, King Henry is more of I don't know how much different that offense would need to be because they do a lot out of shotgun. They don't go under center.
True.
So I think Barkley would be better suited for that style of offense that the Baltimore Ravens run. I think he would actually be a perfect fit because there's been talks about maybe trading him as well. So.
Interesting. All right, one more?
I'm sad.
Take it or leave it. Arenado and Goldie are gone at the next deadline if the Cardinals don't get 3 starting pitchers this offseason.
At the deadline?
So essentially, if they don't get 3 starting pitchers this offseason, they will be bad enough that they have to move.
Sure, I'll take it.
2 Hall of Famers
I'll
at the
take
deadline.
Well, if you don't do that, are we even making it to the trade deadline? Because I think I can imagine how angry Arenado would be.
We'll be limping to the trade deadline.
Yeah, we will.
Goldie is in his last year, correct?
He is.
So he has, if it doesn't go well, he could potentially be, he's like, you know what, I don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to resign here next year, so you might as well trade me.
Yeah, and hey, maybe Arenado will just shut her down. Say, hey, you know what? I don't want to deal with this.
What do you think the injury would be?
Oh, bad back, probably.
When did that start?
Probably a week back. Right?
We have got to figure this out with the strength and conditioning coaches. Take it or leave it. You need to figure it out this season.
Yes, we need a back specialist. They need a back guy. They have a great strength and conditioning and medical staff. They just need a back guy.
Back strategist.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you very much for your text. We do appreciate them. Coming up, who's the best team in the NFL right now? Is it the Chiefs? Is it the Ravens? Or is it somebody else? That's next time, 101 ESPN.
the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker, and the Baltimore Ravens are 5-2. They're the only team in the NFL to have allowed less than 100 points so far in their 7 games. They have allowed 97, and they have scored a total of 171. That's good for 9th in the league. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs are 5th in scoring. They've scored 178 points, and their defense is, in terms of scoring, 3rd. They've only allowed 4th, 105 points allowed. Could make a strong argument for Philadelphia. You could make a strong argument for Miami. But for me right now, I look at the Ravens and the Chiefs as a cut. And by the way, San Francisco too, 49ers. But I look at the Ravens and the Chiefs as a cut above everybody else because of their talent level and because of their performance. Louis Riddick of ESPN talked about one of the most underrated aspects of the great teams, and that's the defense that Steve Spagnuolo has put together in Kansas City.
The Chiefs' defense is balling. And all of the young guys that Brett Beast, the GM down there, has been acquiring, and Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, has been trying to develop some chemistry with over the past 2 years, it's now hitting. And when they're able to make sure that they have another weapon to complement Travis on the outside, and it looks like that could potentially be Rashee Rice, the more they integrate him into this offense, look out for the Chiefs.
I agree. The Chiefs are a really good team. They're not even clicking yet. They defensively, they're playing really well. But offensively, they're still trying to figure some things out. And Travis Kelce's going to get 8 to 10 targets a game, but who else are you going to spread that ball out to? I love what Isaiah Pacheco is doing in the running game and catching the ball out of the backfield. And their willingness now to run the ball more than they have in the past. But they still, as Lewis said, they still need that number 2 receiver opposite of Travis Kelce, and I think Rashee Rice is working to be that. The Baltimore Ravens are an intriguing team. They got two losses, one to the Indianapolis Colts and one to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that they probably shouldn't have lost either of those games, but they found a way to lose it instead of finding a way to win it. And so you have them. The 49ers, those last 2 losses concern me. They scored 17 points in the last 2 games. Brock Purdy is potentially out this weekend with a concussion, so Sam Darnold could be starting. That's a team that, I don't know. And the Philadelphia Eagles, they also are an intriguing team because they still haven't looked like they've clicked completely offensively.
Now, with the Ravens, do you have any concerns? Because I feel like that we've seen this with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offensively, where they have these flashes, especially Lamar, over 3.5 seasons of this MVP caliber performance. He does really well. Wasn't it like against the Colts 2 years ago? He had a fantastic performance, and then their offense fizzled out a little bit. Do you have any concerns about that happening again with the Ravens?
I don't have that concern. My concern, the game that they lost a few games, like I said. The Steelers game, they dropped, I think, like 8 or 9 passes that I've never seen a team just unable to catch a professional football team, unable to catch the football in the manner in which they did. The Colts game, again, that was a game that they probably should have won. They just kept getting death by 1,000 paper cuts. All of the field goals they lost in overtime to the Colts. So those are 2 games, and they lost that Steelers game on the last few minute drive where the Steelers were able to complete with George Pickens on the touchdown. Those are 2 games that they shouldn't have lost, but offensively, their last game versus the Detroit Lions was probably the best offensive output that I've seen from them. They were clicking on all cylinders. This is really the offense that I was expecting, and if they play offense that well and complement that with a great defense that they have, they are a tough out.
And for their 2 losses, they were missing their center, Tyler Linderbaum, and they were missing their left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. Those guys are back. One thing about Lamar, he wins. He became the 5th fastest quarterback to reach 50 wins. He did it in his 68th career start. Only Ken Stabler, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Roger Staubach got their 250 wins quicker. And Lamar talked about getting to 50 wins and winning in the regular season.
I believe when you're playing regular season games, you should be okay, with winning. I'm all right with winning, but it's still regular season. We made strides for improvement from last week and early on in the season. I believe we did, but it's just one regular season game.
And with Todd Monken as their offensive coordinator, he talks about making strides. They are going, hopefully, to get better. They were what they were going to be under Greg Roman as the defense or as the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
And you can tell just by watching the way their offense performs now and the spacing that the more of the field is being used by the Ravens than it was previously.
And they got better weapons. I mean, you bring in Zay Flowers in the draft. Rashad Bateman, if he can stay healthy, is a really good receiver. If he can stay healthy, you get Odell Beckham Jr. You already got Mark Andrews. So you got guys that can catch the ball. The running game, you've had injury after injury. J.K. Dobbins goes down early in the year. If they are to get, I know that Derrick Henry has been talked about. I don't think Derrick Henry is the fit for that offense, but Saquon Barkley in that offense changes the trajectory of that team. And I already had them in the Super Bowl. I think they win the Super Bowl if they get a Saquon Barkley.
Now, we think about them needing a running back, and we think of Lamar Jackson being basically a running back. Their left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, talked about the biggest misconception facing Lamar Jackson.
The biggest misconception is that he's not an elite passer. I mean, I think he proves that wrong every week. I think people always make, excuses here and there, whatever case might be, but he's really a complete player. There's really no weaknesses in his game, and he's a great leader. So, I mean, there's nothing bad I can say about him.
He's pretty darn good. I'm really intrigued in a couple of weeks, and it's an early morning Germany game between Miami and Kansas City. I think we'll probably get a pretty good read in that game as to what we're talking about here, having Baltimore and Kansas City cut above. I'm not so sure, by the way, that if you and one team that's going to be a lot better at the end of the season that we aren't talking about is Cincinnati. Cincinnati is going to be better at the end of the year. But if you have a playoff game between Baltimore and Kansas City, I don't know that it matters where it's played.
To me, it's still, right now, it's Chiefs, Eagles, and then the Ravens. I think the Eagles are still a big part of this conversation. A.J. Brown is really, really good, and he's very dominant. The Chiefs, I think this year the story has been a little bit more about defensively how that they've looked, and it's not the explosive offense I think that we're used to seeing, but you can't doubt Patrick Mahomes. I would never bet against Patrick Mahomes and what he's able to do, and if you kind of look at their remaining schedule, it seems like things align a little bit perfectly for them going into the rest of the season, going into the postseason, and it's just hard for me to bet against them. I think they're just kind of consistent when it comes to winning, that maybe this just feels not as exciting this season, so they get overlooked in that way. But Patrick Mahomes is a stud and a superstar. It's hard to look past because of what he's able to do.
You use the word explosive, and I think that's the key because they don't have Tyreek anymore. Mm-hmm. They just got Hardman back. But only 4 teams have scored more than them. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't look like it did.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But it doesn't feel like they're scoring that many points, but here they are with only 4 teams in the league, Dolphins, Niners, Bills, Eagles with more points than Kansas City.
Yeah, it just doesn't look as explosive as we're accustomed to seeing it. Like you said, it's there at times in spurts. You saw Travis Kelce have a great game last game. He was targeted. He got a lot of yards. He did a great job. He got a lot of it in the first half and didn't even have to do much work in the second half. But they just are not. It just doesn't feel the way it has felt in years past. And that is, you got to find a number 2 receiver that can help Travis Kelce. As far as the Eagles go, I don't know who they are. Like, the loss to the Jets was a terrible loss. You turn the ball over. Jalen Hurts throws 3 interceptions. You just completely you don't take care of your business. And they still offensively, you lost both of your coordinators, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator. They got head coaching jobs. So this offense doesn't feel like it's really clicking as well. I mean, losing your OC, both of them, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, both lose their OCs in the offseason to get to become a head coach and an OC for another team. Their offenses don't feel like they're clicking in the manner in which they had in the last couple of years.
But they scored 31 the other night, and it didn't feel like they were clicking, like you said, CD. And they've been inconsistent. They scored 25-34, 25-34, 23-14 against the Jets, and then 31 the other night. They'll start clicking. And they're another team. Lane Johnson hasn't been completely healthy yet. Mm-hmm. The rest of their offensive line seems to be. But like you said, they need to get their new offensive coordinator on the same page with everybody else. Nick Sirianni obviously oversees what the philosophy is, but when you lose Shane Steichen, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be really fun. I think that things are They aren't wide open, but I think that it's weird. There are teams that have a chance to upset the apple cart. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, and just to correct something that I was mentioning on the Chiefs there, they actually do have some, I was thinking something else with their schedule, but I think that maybe we'll be able to see really this Chiefs team, how they compete against. You have the Dolphins coming up, you have the Eagles, you have the Bills, and then you have the Bengals. That will be very interesting to see because by the time they face them, then maybe this will be a better Cincinnati team than we've been seeing. Because I'm with you guys. I don't think that this is truly what they should be looking like at this moment.
A lot of coaches use the first half of the season to jockey for position and then take off in the second half of the season. And I think they've got, because of the injury to Burrow, they've got that attitude in Cincinnati. Hey, we'll see what happens in the last 9 games. 8-8 is just to jockey for position. That is Brooke Grimsley. That is Kerry Davis. I'm Randy Carricker. Coming up, we're going to visit with the Hall of Famer Bernie Federko as the Blues get ready to take on Calgary tonight. And you'll hear it here on 101 ESPN.
everything St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues Booth. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors, a proud partner of your St. Louis Blues. Find your perfect new floor at our 4 convenient locations and online at boardwalkhardwood.com.
With Brooke Grimsley and Super Bowl champ Kerry Davis, I'm Randy Carricker. The Blues in action tonight. They'll take on the Calgary Flames. It's a 7 o'clock pregame, 8 o'clock faceoff here on 101 ESPN. And we welcome to the show, the opening drive, as we do every Wednesday, the Hall of Famer Bernie Federko here on 101 ESPN. Bernie, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy, and it's Thursday.
Oh, it is? I'm much happier now.
I guess your week has been a little bit longer than normal, I guess.
It really has.
I almost spat out my drink.
Hey, let's start with this because the Blues put out the video of you informing Mike Liut that he's going into the Blues Hall of Fame. How much fun was that for you?
It was a lot of fun for me. I mean, Mike Caruso asked me to be part of it, and, Mike's a good friend, and he was one of the great, all-time great Blues goaltenders. And, in fact, I think he's one of the best goaltenders of all time during our era. And it was great to be a part of that, and he was excited, and we're looking forward to the January induction. It'll be a lot of fun that night as well.
It was a great video. Well, Bernie, I wanted to ask you, it looks like some changes are coming to the Blues lineup. Craig Berube kind of switching some things around, shaking up the bottom 2 forward lines, and then also their bottom defensive pair. What do you think about those changes that you're seeing?
Well, you're going to see changes during the year, Brooke. I mean, anytime you have I guess I don't want to call it struggles, but things have not come together totally yet, and it's still early. They're going to experiment, and I think the chief is, you've got a 23-man roster, so you want to kind of bring in new faces, and sometimes new faces get an opportunity. Sometimes new faces create some new energy. So I think that we'll see a lot of experimentation. In fact, a lot of times I think when you look at with what Craig does, I mean, he's kind of done it each and every year. He switches lines when things aren't going to what he considers the best they can be, and we'll probably continue to see that all season long.
Do you think during this road trip that we'll see Scott Perunovich get some playing time, or how are they handling that situation?
Good question. I really don't know exactly. I mean, I know that they obviously want to get him into the lineup at some point in time. I mean, he's been working his tail off in practices, and no one wants to be just a practice player. So you just have to bide your time. He's young. He's had some injury problems over the course of the last couple of years, and yes, I'm sure he'll be very excited to get back in there. But, I mean, I think like everything else, you have to wait your turn. And there's always injuries that happen, or guys have off games, and coaches want to make changes. So, yeah, I'm sure that we'll see Scott there, and we'll get to see him, show his wares.
Hey, Bernie, when you're looking at Jake Neighbors, a young man, what have you seen from him this year? He's been showing you a little bit on the ice when he's out there?
Yeah, he is. I mean, I think that Jake is just one of those young kids, too, that's trying to find his way as well. I mean, what is he going to be? Is he going to be a first, second, third, or fourth line player? I think that's the way you look at it. And he's got an awful lot of energy, and I thought he played really good in Winnipeg. I think that, Jamie made those comments a couple of times, too, and we, reiterated that on the postgame show, is that both him and Toropchenko had a lot of energy. They were in there on the forecheck. I mean, Jake had a couple of good scoring chances. I mean, come off scoring a goal against Pittsburgh on Saturday night. So, is he going to be moving up the ladder, or is he going to be, stuck in a third or fourth line position? I think that's up to him. And I like the face. I mean, he's got the tools. He skates well. He's not afraid to jump in there. And I kind of think he plays a lot like Braden Shen does. So I think that's really a good thing for him. And we'll just have to see how he progresses. When you're a young player like that, what is the hardest part of cracking that second line or getting to the first line or just getting more time on the ice? What's the hardest part of the game that really makes that transition from getting less time to getting more time? Well, it's just ice time for the most part, Kerry. Is that when you're young, when you're a draft pick, you have to come up and you have to earn your time on the ice, and I think that's the hardest. I mean, the way you get rewarded in any game is by playing more, and I think that you work your way up through practice. When you get into your games, you got to do and show what you can do, and then when you get an opportunity when somebody gets hurt or something, when you get a chance to move up the ladder, you got to perform. And you got to produce, and I think that's what it's all about. So Jake is in that situation now, and it's just a matter of continuing to grow as a player. And when you get more ice time, you have to produce, as I say. You got to score goals or do the little things that create chances, and that way you get to move up the ladder and move up to the first or second line.
The Hall of Famer Bernie Federko with us on 101 ESPN. And Bernie, the Blues, as they have mentioned, are implementing a new defensive system, and that changes things offensively. For an ordinary team, how long does it take to implement a system? Should it be second nature to them by now? Should we be concerned about systems at this point?
Well, I would say that the instinct has got to take over it sooner than later, Randy. I mean, yes, they're trying a new system, this and that, but I think when you are trying a new system, you got to get to the point where you know the system well enough that you use your instinct to go on offense. And I think they're not there yet. I think they're still playing too much time in their own end zone, and I think we see that. I mean, there's a lot of time that the Winnipeg the other night had the puck in the blue zone for over a minute, and because everybody was kind of backing up, and they're getting into that middle of the ice to so they can block shots and stop the chances. But I mean, it's still overwhelming, and it's very tiring when you've got a team in your own zone for the whole minute. So I think that they got to start being a little more aggressive in that zone and create more turnovers so they can get the puck out of their own zone and then get on the offense. And that's where you use your instincts. I think it's got to be more of a natural transition than maybe a stressful situation. I mean, you just got to use your instincts and get the puck and go. And I think we've got to see a little bit more of that.
Bernie, kind of playing into that, too, the Blues obviously registering a season-low 20 shots on goal in that last loss. Is there any concerns with that?
Well, there is. I mean, you've got to create offense in this league to win. I mean, I don't care how good you play defensively. You've still got to score goals. And I think that the teams, yes, you got to be, responsible defensively. But ultimately, when you've got four lines that all can score, and the Blues do have that, you've got to get the offense going so that you can do those things. So, right now, I'm watching this team going, they've got to get better offensively, and they've got the tools to do it. So they just got to. As I said, they got to use their instincts and just go forward.
Finally, Bernie Federko, as a player, it's probably pretty easy to get jazzed and ready for back-to-backs. The Blues with the back-to-backs tonight and tomorrow night, at Calgary tonight and then at Vancouver tomorrow night. As a broadcaster, is it as easy?
Yeah, you know what? It's part of the game now. I mean, we used to play 4 and 5 a lot of times, so it's really not a big thing. I mean, you're playing 3 and 4 nights, and it's important to try to win that first game, and I think that's the whole deal, is that you get to the rink tonight saying, okay, if we win tonight, we got a chance to go into tomorrow night and sweep 2 games in a row. And but if you all of a sudden lose tonight, then all of a sudden you're in a desperate situation to win tomorrow night because you got to beat. Try to get back to 500 in back-to-back games. So yeah, it's easy. I mean, I think you like to play games, Randy. I mean, no one likes to practice. I mean, the whole thing is that you get paid to play, you get paid to win hockey games, but you don't do that in practice. So I think everybody would. I mean, if they have to play every night, I think guys would probably like it better than having to practice every day. So yes, I mean, they'll be excited about tonight. I mean, Jake goes back to Calgary. I mean, the Blues have had good success in Calgary, so I think this is a game that they have to be ready for. But certainly it's going to be harder tomorrow night in Vancouver because you're back-to-back, and Vancouver right now is playing very well under Rick Tocchet. So I think this is the game that they've got to really be ready for tonight.
Bernie Federko, we always love having you on. Thanks so much for the time. Enjoy your Thursday.
Yes, and you know what? Tomorrow's the weekend starts, so it's a good thing.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Thank you, sir.
You guys too.
See ya. That's the Hall of Famer, the great Bernie Federko, with us on 101 ESPN.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Coming up, Matthew, do you need a fighter?
We actually got one.
We got a fighter.
Wow.
So you don't even need to text in right now because we've got a fighter.
You can text us, though.
Yeah, you can still text us. Maybe we'll use you tomorrow for the fight.
You know what? You should just text, because that way when I look at your text history, I'm like, wow, this guy is always trying to get in the fight. I never pick him. So just add that equity.
Let's hear it. All right. We want to hear from you. But coming up next, we've got the fight on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Last night in the MLS, the 8 seeds were decided in the wild card round, and in the West, it's Sporting Kansas City over the San Jose Earthquakes. San Jose dragged it out for the full 90 minutes, and then Kansas City does what they do best and won that one in shootout, so they will face off against City in a best-of-3 series that starts Game 1 on Sunday with a 9 p.m. kickoff. Also coming up tonight, it's the Blues back in action on their Canadian road trip, facing off against the Flames. It's an 8 p.m. puck drop and a 7 p.m. pregame right here on your home for the St. Louis Blues, 101 ESPN and 101ESPN.com. That is your Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I am Kerry Davis, joined by Brooke Grimsley, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Dwayne. Dwayne, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Are you ready to take on Randy Carricker?
I guess so.
All right. Well, best of luck to you. Here we go. The Diamondbacks are the second team ever to reach the World Series with a negative run differential. The first team ever went on to beat the Cardinals in 7 games. Which franchise was it? Is it the Detroit Tigers, the Minnesota Twins, or the Kansas City Royals?
Boy. I'll go with the Royals.
There have been 69 named World Series MVPs, but one position has only ever taken home the award one singular time. Which position is it? Second base, third base, or catcher?
I'll go with catcher.
Since his first start in Week 17 of the 2017 season, Patrick Mahomes is 29-4 in his career against the AFC West. Which division rival is the only one to beat Mahomes multiple times? Is it the Chargers, the Raiders, or the Broncos?
Broncos.
Which City forward was the only City player to score in multiple games against Sporting Kansas during the regular season? Is it Samuel Adeniran, João Klaus, or Nico Gioacchini?
Could you name them again?
Samuel Adeniran, João Klaus, Nico Gioacchini.
I'll go with Adeniran.
All right, we will double check our score, and we will bring in Randy Carricker.
All right, Dwayne, how you feel?
Man, it's harder doing it live.
It is.
It comes at you fast, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Yeah, that's part of the problem going against Randy Carricker. He's been doing this for a while. He got a bag of grapes. Where do you get those grapes from, Randy?
Those are official grapes from Costco.
Okay. Oh, Costco has some really good grapes. You know what I do, Randy? I mix the red and the green grapes together.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing.
Oh, it's delightful. If you haven't done it, try it.
Have you had the cotton candy grapes?
Yes.
Those are good.
Don't mix those. Just eat those on their own. But if you mix the red and the green grapes together,
pretty good.
Yeah. All right, ready. Say hello to Dwayne.
Dwayne, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
No problem.
All right.
All right, Randy, ready? Mm-hmm. The Diamondbacks are the second team ever to reach the World Series with a negative run differential. The first team ever went on to defeat the Cardinals in 7 games. Which franchise was it?
7-game loss for the Cardinals. You would think that it would probably have been, you wouldn't have thought that it was like the 68 Tigers, because they won a bunch of games and they didn't allow many runs. You would, that Twins team, I think, won 87 games. The Royals team won 85. Maybe it was the 85 Royals. 7 games in the World Series, right? Is that right?
In 7 games, yep. First team ever went on to defeat the Cardinals in 7 games.
Okay. I guess I will go with the 85 Royals with cheese.
There have been 69 named World Series MVPs, but one position has only ever taken home the award one singular time. Which position is it?
The first name that comes to mind for me is Hideki Matsui, a DH with the Yankees. So I will go with him in, let's see, when did he win it? 2009? I'll go with designated hitter.
Since his first start in Week 17 of the 2017 season, Patrick Mahomes is 29-4 in his career against the AFC West. Which division rival is the only one to beat Mahomes multiple times?
29-4.
Not
Okay,
bad.
so this is
That's not bad.
This is one where I think we can narrow it down relatively easily.
You don't need. You want the options?
Yeah,
Do you want the options?
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay. I don't know if you wanted the options or not.
Yeah.
Final question. Which City forward was the only City player to score in multiple games against Sporting Kansas during the regular season?
Okay, the big boy was out, so that's probably not even going to be on the. Well, I have a lifeline, don't I?
Yeah, you didn't want to use it for the AFC West one.
Yeah. I'll do the lifeline.
Okay. Your options are Samuel Adeniran, João Klaus, Nico Gioacchini.
I think I'll go with Nico. That's his hometown team, too, right? He's from KC or something like that. I think. Not sure. But I'm going with him.
I don't want to answer anything. Just so people are like, you're giving me a way answer.
This was an extremely close fight in an extremely unexpected fashion. So, was Dwayne able to come in on a Thursday and knock off Megamind? Or does Randy Carricker keep on building through this week with another victory? Ring that bell.
The winner and new champion of the fight, Average Joe Listener.
Congratulations, Dwayne. You won the fight today. A very unlikely 1-0 win today in the fight. Congratulations, Dwayne.
That was a lot of fun.
You know what? I had a different feeling. So let's go through the questions and the answers. The Diamondbacks are the second team to ever reach the World Series with a negative run differential. The first team to ever do it was the Minnesota Twins when they beat the Cardinals in 1987. There are 69 named World Series MVPs, but one position has only ever taken home the award one singular time. Unfortunately, David Ortiz was listed as DH in 2013 when he won to become the second ever DH. Bobby Richardson with the 1960 Yankees is the only second baseman to ever win World Series MVP. Since his first start in Week 17 when he beat the Denver Broncos, Patrick Mahomes is 29-4 in his career against the AFC West. He has lost to the San Diego Chargers 3 times in the now Las Vegas Raiders just once. And he has never lost to the Broncos because they dominate them forever. And which City forward is the only City player to score in multiple games against Sporting Kansas during the regular season? It is, in fact, Samuel Adeniran, who scored in their first matchup and then scored the one lone goal for City in their 2-1 loss at Children's Mercy Park. So an unexpected 1-0 win for Dwayne in the fight today. Dwayne, that means you will take on Randy Carricker in the fight tomorrow as you go for round 2.
Great, thank you. I can't believe I got the soccer question right.
There you go. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Good luck again.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. So Ben Zobrist wasn't considered a second baseman?
He was not on this list considered a second baseman. He was listed as...
Who was the second baseman for the Royals in 2015? Let
me find Zobrist here. Sorry, I got the whole list in front of me. Where'd it go? It's not listed by year anymore. 2015. This has Salvador Perez as the winner of the MVP. 2016, he's listed as an outfielder with the Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
Good job,
okay, so who is their outfield then? So Hayward, Fowler, Schwarber. Well, Schwarber was a DH, right?
Yes, Schwarber was a DH for them.
So Javi Baez wasn't playing second base for them then? Addison Russell at short?
I think that
Or
would
no, Royals.
We're
We're Cubs. Okay, talking different teams.
Yeah. He won with the
Second
Cubs.
base. He was absolutely their second baseman, right? In the Royals' second baseman.
But the
He didn't
Royals,
win the
yes,
World
but
Series
Perez won
MVP.
the World Series MVP.
Got it.
Zobrist won the
Okay.
World Series MVP the next year in 2016 with the Cubs.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Where he played a lot more
Fair
outfield.
enough.
Good
Bobby
job, Rocc.
Richardson.
Bobby Richardson with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Good job, Rocc.
Interesting.
Proud of you.
Yeah. So, and Kerry will have the fight tomorrow.
Oh, you out? You're
Well,
out tomorrow?
you seem thrilled about this. So, we'll let you do it. So you'll have it tomorrow, right? You got it. Coming up on 101 ESPN, we've got NFL news and notes for you. Hey, I want you to know about Metro because it can make such a big difference in our community. As a matter of fact, it does. We are one of the few cities that has a great public transportation system, and Metro can make your life so much easier. Here's what you need to know. If you already like Metro, you'll love it once you know what a difference it makes in all of our communities. It helps people get to jobs. It helps St. Louis bring jobs, bring companies to St. Louis. And if you want to support your community, riding Metro supports local business and helps reduce traffic congestion, too. A healthy, vibrant public transportation system is critical in attracting those businesses that create a significant amount of jobs in the region. A lot of people need public transportation, and our system is great. If you want to explore the city without the stress of driving, Metro is a great way to do it. If you value safety, Metro has security measures now in place to ensure the safety for you and all the passengers. Don't let preconceived notions hold you back. Give Metro a chance and experience the benefits for yourself. In short, thanks to Metro, you don't have to drive to thrive. Time for some NFL news and notes. And earlier this week, the Titans traded safety Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's one of Brooks' favorite players. And an interesting quote for Kevin Byard.
Are you talking about the one where he says he woke up 6-1?
Yeah, it feels good to wake up 6-1.
Yeah, it feels good to wake. And here's the thing. I am so happy for Kevin Byard. So when I was at MTSU, I got to cover Kevin while he was at MTSU. And to see him just really flourish in this way, they call him the mayor of Murfreesboro. And he also does so much work off the field. Great charity efforts. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. And so the Eagles are gaining another spectacular Titans player. So I am very happy about that. Of course.
Good for
Pretty cool.
I guess.
Good for Kevin. I mean, Kevin deserves all of the success in the world, and so does A.J. Brown, and he's running off with it quite literally.
Yep. Yeah, he is. Tyreek Hill missing practice with a hip injury. He's on pace to have the greatest yardage season in the history of NFL wide receivers.
I think, practice is, what did AI say? Who's talking about practice, man? I think, you get towards this part of the season, week 8, week 9, your body start to feel a little bit more banged up. Guys missing practice on Wednesdays or Thursdays aren't really that big of an issue for me, especially Wednesday. Thursday, we'll see if he's able to practice limited today and, get just to running around a little bit and see how he feels. But I think he'll play on Sunday. Generally speaking, you're on the injury report as questionable. You're more than likely going to play unless something, catastrophic happens during the week.
902 yards in 7 games.
That's different.
And he's different. Now, on the other side of the ball, they have both Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey in practice. They were both limited, but that's going to be, when they're healthy, the best starting cornerback pair in the league.
The rich keep getting richer. You get Jalen Ramsey back after he had a meniscus injury earlier in the year, a knee injury, and so now he's going to be healthy. Xavier Howard missed the last game with a groin issue, and it definitely hurt. You could tell that they needed him out there going against that Eagles offense. So you get those guys back healthy. You got the fastest receiving / running back core in the league for Miami and what they do offensively. Jalen Waddle was a little bit banged up with a back issue, but he finished the game against the Eagles.
How long did he have that?
About a week back. He's a little sore. So hopefully they're all healthy and clicking on all cylinders and ready to go for this weekend.
This weekend, there is a game that I think will be just interesting to see how it plays out. Texans and Panthers, just because it will feature an NFL first, the top 3 picks in the NFL draft will all play in a game at the same time.
Wow.
So you have, of course, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson. What do you think about that and the progression you've seen from all 3 of those draft picks?
I think that what the Texans are doing is remarkable. It has been just absolutely amazing. DeMeco Ryans getting that team going in the direction that they're going. C.J. Stroud looks like he's the better quarterback of the two. And, it might be a bit of an issue over there in Carolina where that seems like that's who the head coach may have wanted. He may be looking for a new job, and the Carolina Panthers may be looking for a new head coach after the season because they didn't get C.J. Stroud and they went with Bryce Young. And Bryce Young still, he's going to be a good player. He still has room to grow. Obviously, he's taking the normal path of a rookie. C.J. Stroud is playing out of his mind, and he does not look like a rookie at all. So you can't really compare those two and considering them both rookies in that manner. But I think it's going to be, like I said, the Texans are a team that has been probably the most surprising team of the year. And if they finish with a, close to 500 record, just under or just over, I think DeMeco Ryans is your coach of the year, and I don't think it's even close.
I agree with that. He's turned around a franchise that has been bad for a long time.
Yeah.
And you have you wind up with the 2 and 3 picks last year. You had enough going on to go get them, and then to turn it around. They really don't have an exceptionally talented group right now. He's doing a great job.
He's doing a really good job, yeah.
There's a weird thing happening in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, who, according to Kevin Stefanski, has been medically cleared to play, but Deshaun says his shoulder's bothering him too much, and he's not going to play this weekend. P.J. Walker's going to get the start again.
This is really weird, and this is also... I hope, I mean this, and this is going to sound weird, but I really hope he is injured in the terms of he's not just, taking weeks off, because this is the fear that owners have of giving guaranteed contracts. Is the guy going to want to play once all of his money is guaranteed? So for Deshaun's sake, and for every other NFL player that will come after him, I hope that he is healthy, or I hope that he is actually hurt and dealing with something and not actually healthy and just choosing to sit out. I hope this is a real injury. I hope something is torn in there and they haven't done an MRI and figured it out. I hope there is some lingering pain that is causing him an issue and not allowing him to play football, because what he's doing is ruining it for everyone else if he's not injured, because there is no way on God's green earth that another player will get a contract of that magnitude. They already weren't going to give it, but for sure now, if he's healthy enough to play and choosing not to play.
I think it's karma for the Haslams. There is no need for them to go out and give him that contract anyways in that situation with everything that was going on. And this is how this is all panning out right now with him. And, I mean, whatever is going on, why wouldn't he just push through it, you think? If he's wanted to be out there and everything has been supposedly cleared, why wouldn't he find a way to push through it? Because I saw Joe Burrow push through a calf injury this season. I've seen a lot of different situations, a lot of different quarterbacks pushing through really tough injuries this season. Why is he not tough enough to do that?
And that's what I'm saying. I hope it's really something that it's lingering. It's something torn. I hope he's really hurt, because if he is not, if it is something where the staff has cleared him to play, there's no structural damage, there's no tears, there's nothing that they can see that is actually causing him pain. Now, he knows his body better than anyone else does, but it's this is an interesting thing that is happening in Cleveland, and Cleveland always has some interesting things happening, but this is very intriguing. I hope he is hurt, because if he's not, it's going to be bad.
Okay, one more thing. The NFL trade deadline is next Tuesday. A couple of the names that are on the list right now as hot names that could be traded. Chase Young of the Washington Commanders, unrestricted free agent after this season. But if you're a team that's in the playoff hunt that needs a pass rusher, he hasn't done it in a couple of years because he's been hurt. Do you roll the dice on Chase Young?
You know, there's a coach that really liked him, but said he could never get him because he was going to be, drafted too high. And Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh likes him. Mike, I know he does. And just based off of what he said in the past about him, he's been injured a lot. You got Cam Hayward, who is injured now and missing time. If you could get him and playing on that defensive line for Pittsburgh, now he won't be in a defensive end rush spot. He'll be kicked inside over a tackle, but you can get a player like that can rush the quarterback along with Highsmith and TJ Watt off the edge. Whew, good luck.
And the other one, Jerry Jeudy, slammed by Steve Smith last week before the Denver Thursday night game against Kansas City. Jeudy is on the block. Does anybody trade for Jerry Jeudy?
No. I don't know why. I mean, I think Jerry Jeudy has had all of the opportunities there in Denver now. Quarterback play has been, up and down. It's been better this year. But when you have Russell Wilson and what he did last year, he was the quarterback from Missouri from a few years ago.
Drew Lock?
Is that who it is? No.
Oh.
Yeah, quarterback from Missouri. Yeah, Drew Lock.
Yeah, Drew Lock. Yes.
Yeah, he had him as your quarterback a couple of years ago, who was a good dancer.
Really good dancer. Yeah.
I didn't remember what you're talking about when he was on the sidelines.
Great dancing to Jeezy. He was good. Good job.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Jerry Jeudy has had a lot of drops and untimely drops in his career. So I don't know that, I don't know that he's particularly wanted by a bunch of other teams. Denver might be his best option.
And then Brooke, Derrick Henry.
I don't want to see him go, but that's the situation that we are in. Situation that we're in right now with the Tennessee Titans. It's just a giant dumpster fire. What's new? But it's not good. I think it will be interesting to see some of the teams that are listed include the Bills, the Ravens. I still think the Ravens could be an intriguing option, and that one seems to be gathering a little bit more steam. But I hate to see it for the Titans, but at this point, what else are you going to do? I mean, they don't even know. Vrabel got very upset with reporters yesterday because they started questioning him about they're going to use, obviously, either Will Levis or Malik Willis. And it seemed like he was getting pretty testy when they're like, well, how is this exactly going to work out? Is there one or the other? It kind of seems like you're favoring Will Levis a little bit more in practice. And so he got kind of upset with that line of questioning. I don't know what's going on with the Titans right now, who their quarterback is going to be. I think you just might as well just give Will Levis a shot in this situation.
Yeah,
when you're giving away guys, all the different kind of stuff, why not see what you have with Will Levis at this point?
Agreed, 100%. That is our NFL News and Notes segment here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, How's Colton Parayko looking to his coach? We'll hear from Craig Berube as the Blues get ready to take on the Flames tonight here on 101 ESPN.
Recapping the biggest sports stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
9:02 in St. Louis. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers and officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Kerry Davis, Randy Carricker. Time for the Rush Hour Reset. What are we laughing at here?
We got the day correct today? We got the day?
Thursday, yeah.
Okay.
It is. It's a Thursday. Thank you, Bernie Federko, for correcting me. I know it's Friday Eve. I do. I said it at the beginning of the show. And on this Thursday night, the Blues will play Calgary. 7 o'clock pregame, 8 o'clock face-off here on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN. Colton Parayko has kind of changed his game a little bit so far this season. Yesterday, as Craig Berube joined the fast lane, he was asked about whether or not Parayko's a little bit more confident in his play this season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's just playing. Like, he's skating, he's killing plays, he's using his stick, his reach. But, you know, he's looking to shoot pucks all the time, too. So he's playing with a lot of confidence, but it all starts with his feet. And he's very confident with his feet right now. He's using his feet to kill plays, to skate pucks out of our zone and get up the ice.
We are so quick to criticize players for their play without having any, bless you, Brooke, without having any.
I tried to use the dump button so nobody heard it.
I know, but you're allowed to say so. But here's the thing.
It's actually coughs, but it's fine.
Are either any of you convinced that Colton Parayko has not been hurt for a significant portion of the last 2 years?
I feel like he had to have been hurt. The way that it just looked painful at times skating, and as players, we don't make excuses. So if there was an injury, you probably won't hear it from him. You'd have to hear it from, training staff, a coach, someone else to tell you, yeah, he's better now than he had been in the last couple of years. But I think it was some lower body, back issue, something along those lines that he was dealing with, because now he is skating better. He does look, more active and more willing to get involved and get in the mix. And if you're dealing with an injury, you're probably a second slower. You're more hesitant. You're unwilling to use your body in the manner in which you need to. But hell, it hurts when I do, so I'm not going to. But when you're watching him now, he does look. And here's the other thing, Randy, to think that players don't hear the noise, the outside voices from outside of their room talking about how poorly they're playing. We hear it. We understand it. We might not respond to everything, but you definitely know, wow, these people really think I suck. They think I stink. I got to play better. So that's probably part of it. Health and knowing that he's been talked about in a manner in which he probably didn't like to hear.
And Jeremy Rutherford, The Athletic, had, and we'll be talking to him here soon, he had a great article where this offseason he talked to Colton Parayko about that. And Parayko did notice, and he did hear those things, and he took it to heart. And you could tell that it was something that definitely that he wanted to improve upon this season. I thought that the second half of the season, towards the end last year, he looked a lot better. And I do think that health is a big factor, because if you remember back in 2021, he missed, a little over 20 games due to a back injury. And I think that we've seen that as him fully kind of recovering from those injury issues that he's had a past history of. And, even when you've healed up, your body still is almost kind of just trying to figure out, or even is maybe even a little bit worried about getting hurt again. It's like your body is still a little cautious when returning back to things. But I think that Parayko has been a highlight so far this season with what he's been able to do.
And if the Blues can beat Calgary tonight, they will tie Minnesota for third place in the Central Division, with each team having 6 games played. That depending, of course, upon whether or not Minnesota plays tonight. Let's check the old schedule here. They, on this Thursday, the Wild, scrolling. Yeah, they play at Philadelphia. So go Flyers tonight. Big news yesterday for college football fans and high school football fans in the St. Louis metro area, as 5-star wide receiver Ryan Wingo from St. Louis U High made his decision on his team.
So with that being said, I'll be committed to the University of Texas.
He is a Longhorn, where Texas has a great history. They obviously have a great deal of NIL money. They have a head coach who's been an offensive coordinator in the NFL, and he'll be catching passes from Arch Manning.
What conference are they going to be in?
They're going to be in the SEC.
Oh, okay.
Just like the University of Missouri.
Just wondering.
So, if it was my kid, I would be very happy with that choice. I don't think that Ryan Wingo can go wrong with that choice. Would people have liked to have seen him play closer to home at the University of Missouri? Yeah, but did he necessarily want to be closer to home? None of us know that.
Right.
He's making a lifetime decision. He's 17, 18 years old and making a lifetime decision. So he should be congratulated on that choice.
I have a question for you guys, because we talked about this earlier, and I'm totally in agreement with what you guys are saying along the lines of he's a teenager, and in general, you're allowed to make whatever decision you want. Adults should not be upset about that. You should not be that upset about what decisions somebody makes with their life in general, but especially when it's a high schooler making a big decision like that for college. What do you guys think of the criticism that I keep seeing over and over again, and we're getting on the text line, but I saw it on social media too, that he basically strung along Mizzou? What is your take on that?
My take is you have the right to make whatever decision makes you happy, and it does not matter what anyone else thinks about your decision about your life, whether it was financial, whether it was he wanted to play in a different place, whether it was he wanted to leave the state of Missouri and play in a different city, a different state. That's all of those things are his right. he doesn't have to answer to anyone in terms of, well, why'd you take so? Because I wanted to. What the hell do you care for? You all are grown men and women, and you all are talking bad about a young man that made a decision about his life, not yours. So my advice to you would be find things that you find joy in your own life, not pertaining to a young man that made a decision that he finds joy in his life. That's crazy as hell to me. I don't understand the notion that someone owes you something. Grow up, get over it. He made a decision. If he would have been going to Mizzou, then you would have been excited. He chose to go to Texas. That's his decision. Mizzou football ain't going to stop playing football. They're still going to play next week, aren't they?
Yep.
They're still have a schedule for 2024, 25, and beyond. So it doesn't matter. You go find another player. That's part of the game. Get better and find a way to compete every single weekend. That's your job as a coach, as a fan. Your job is to watch, cheer on your team, and sit still and be quiet and enjoy it.
And I didn't hear any complaints at all when Ryan Perlow decided to go to LSU at the end of the recruiting process. The University of Texas called up Chase Daniel and said, nope, I'm going to Mizzou. He's a Texas guy. And I didn't hear any, and I was working radio then, I didn't hear any complaints about Chase Daniel making the decision to go to the University of Missouri and leave his home state. So let's be consistent here, kids. By the way, our buddy Frank Cusimano talked to Ryan Wingo's dad, Ronnie, about the decision that his son has made.
He made the decision he thought was right. But are you aware that there could be ramifications? People locally, they're going to be really ticked off, and we know how crazy college fans can be.
Signing day December the 20th. You never know what can happen. Signing day December the 20th. You just never know what can happen by then.
So you're saying you'll still accept Mizzou's recruitment?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
That was his father?
That was his father, yes.
Who signs the letter? Who chooses to go what school they? Listen, man.
I would hope he and his dad are close.
I'm not saying that they're not, but at the end of the day, you know, it's as a parent and as a coach, our job is to make sure that the kid puts himself in the best position to be successful, wherever that is. And so if one of my kids, meaning the kids that I coach, or my son, eventually he's in that position, my job is to make sure that I put him in the best position to be successful. I don't care what any program thinks. It's about the kid. It's about making sure they are comfortable and connected to the staff. And so for me, you know, I don't know that Mizzou fans should get too eager about his father saying that either way. But until the ink is dried on the paper, true. It could be anywhere.
Ultimately, though, I'm rooting for Ronnie Wingo to do well, but I want Mizzou to do well, too. I'm not going to, and I know that not all of us in this room are rooting for Mizzou to do well, but I do want to see them do
And Mizzou
well.
is doing well with their recruiting class. And that's something that Eli Drinkwitz has done a fantastic job of. Just to follow up, when you were asking about the difference between what the father said and what Ryan said, Frank followed up, and you can see this all on X, on Twitter, basically, that you can see the videos of this. And Frank followed up, and Ryan basically said, well, I mean, it's pretty much set in stone. So he sounds like he is pretty set with Texas. But here's the thing, recruiting-wise, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it's a good thing that he did go on these official visits, because in the day and the age of the transfer portal, a lot of stuff can change. So the fact that he did go through this full recruiting process with Mizzou, I think, and I would hope that down the line, say that if there was a situation where he decided to come back here to Mizzou, or he changes his mind before he puts ink to the paper and makes his final decision, I'd hope that Mizzou fans, I'm sure they would, be very accepting, the majority of them, of him coming back.
Brooke. Yeah, they don't want him. This texter says, the hell with him. Go away from Missouri and never come back to the state. That's lame as hell, man. Find something better to do.
It's hard for me to believe that those are real people.
Like, it's a real person. I am a real boy. He's texting.
I am a real boy.
He's texting. Like, here's the other thing. Like you said, the transfer portal is real. People are able to make a decision to come and go wherever they choose to. I will tell you, the people ask me, why didn't I choose Mizzou? Well, I was in the lunchroom. I had a team. We won state my sophomore year. We had a team with 8 Division I guys on our team, that won state. One of those Division I guys decided to go to a different school other than Mizzou. There was a Missouri coach cussing him out in the cafeteria as he told him he chose to go somewhere else.
Wow.
Why in the hell would I want to go there? If that's how you respond when you don't get your way, why the hell would I choose? And so to put that together with, if your fan base responds, and this is not just Missouri, this is any fan base that acts like children when they don't get their way,
which is all of
it's
them.
the same. Again, if this was Illinois fans, I would be saying the same thing. You all are lame for doing that. That's a child making a decision that impacts the rest of his life. Choosing a college, finding a spouse are two decisions that you make at 18, at 25, 30, whatever time you get married. Those are decisions that impact your life forever. And this is his decision. Leave him be.
Coming up next on 101 ESPN, MLS Season Pass host and analyst Andrew Wiebe joins us to talk about the battle against Sporting Kansas coming up Sunday night at CITYPARK. St. Louis City SC, first ever playoff game coming up on Sunday. We'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN.
It's the only way City knows how to play.
Oh, that's completely given away. And it's an equalizer.
In a word,
chaos. Oh, it's a giveaway to Klaus, who clips it over Diego and scores a wonderful goal.
We're breaking down City SC on the opening drive in our weekly segment we like to call Controlled Chaos.
Brought to you by Keystone Event Staffing. Better people mean better events.
St. Louis CITYSC will have their first ever playoff game Sunday night at City Park, 9 o'clock St. Louis time, and they'll take on Sporting Kansas. And joining us now on 101 ESPN via the Celebrity Line is Andrew Wiebe from MLS Season Pass. He is a host and analyst. And Andrew, with Brooke Grimsley and Carrie Davis, this is Randy Carricker. Thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing great this morning. It's a wonderful day in New Jersey, and I come to find out that you guys give out the celebrity line to just anybody.
No, only big-time celebrities, Andrew. Only big-time celebrities like you.
Wink, wink. Wink, wink.
Hey, we're really excited, as you might imagine, here in St. Louis. Let's start with this. What do you think of this matchup for Sunday night between St. Louis and, as what we affectionately call them, Sporting Kansas?
You know, it was Christmas 2 months early for me. Last night with the wild card round, MLS Cup playoffs starting, this is what I live for. And I was in the Uber home after our studio shows in Kansas City, got it done in PKs, and I was just giddy. I know this rivalry. It's in my core. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I lived in Kansas City for a long time. I'm a Royals fan. I'm a Chiefs fan. My dad was season tickets in 1985. I had a signed baseball with that entire team, George Brett and all the boys, that beat St. Louis. And to do it again in the very first year, it is a gift for all of us who love this game, who love these cities, who love this burgeoning rivalry. It's perfection. You could not ask for more, though. If I was St. Louis, I would ask for the Quakes. But they can't be choosing now. It's the rivalry.
Well, I think that's what everybody's looking forward here is just the rivalry that's going on. City outscored Sporting Kansas, as we said, 8-1 in City Park this season, but they stumbled in a 2-1 loss in Kansas. What did Sporting KC do in that one home match victory that they'll try to replicate in this series?
Well, when you watch these games back, it really is, especially at City Park, about the first goal. And when that first goal comes in St. Louis, the crowd gets insane. The pressure shifts to the away team to control the game with the ball, and that's where City just thrived. Winning second balls, putting the pressure on as Kansas City tried to build out of the back, forcing mistakes and taking advantage of those mistakes. So if I'm Kansas City, what I learned from the first two games at City Park is that I got to set the tone physically a little bit better, and I got to push the onus to control the game with the ball more onto St. Louis. Because if Kansas City has 60, 65% possession, which we saw at times, that's a bad recipe. That just gives City opportunity after opportunity to turn them over, to sit back in a block, to force Kansas City to break down an organized defense, and then to go direct when the time comes. So if I'm Kansas City, find a way to get the first goal. That changes the tenor of the match. It shifts the pressure back to St. Louis, and it just gives you more space to work with when it comes to an attack, and more opportunities to say, hey, instead of us having to be the ones that get out of our shape and push forward, we're going to make St. Louis City come to us. And City's one struggle this year has been defending in transition. So that's the recipe. But as you know, just because you got the recipe doesn't mean you can make the dish. Very few have been able to come into St. Louis and do that this year.
When you were talking about home and how much that has been an advantage for CitySC this season, is that something that you have seen and just heard from some of the other clubs of how much of that is a factor, that fear of coming here to St. Louis and having to play in City Park?
You know, it's incredible off the jump what that stadium and what the fan base has become. And I give credit not just to the people in the building, not just to the club. I give credit to Bradley Carnell and the players as well. You had the Metallica promo coming in, win tickets to Metallica. And I was sitting here thinking, like, that is Louis City at home. That is these fans at home. You hear the bells. You got the Enter Sandman, for whom the bell tolls, seek and destroy. Like, that is what this team is. And the fans have bought into it, and they've thrived off of it. And we all knew it was going to happen, right? Anybody from that neck of the woods, that part of the country, knew that when that stadium opened, it was going to be lit. The question was, how good was the team going to be? And sometimes when you have a team that's not at the top level, they're old. But St. Louis has been at the top level all season long, and now to get your first playoff match at home in this environment against Kansas City, manic is probably a good word for the way those fans are going to be.
Andrew, City has been an aggressive style team all season long. They were second in MLS in fouls committed. Does that style have to dial it back just a little bit because it is the playoffs?
No, not at all. Stick with your style. That's when I said, how does this game won? A lot of it comes down to that physicality. St. Louis City sets tones. They get into you. You think about the first game in this rivalry, the Blom tackle to set up the second goal, crunching in midfield. Is that a foul? It depends on the referee, but we don't get called for it. the ball goes the other way, and St. Louis gets the sort of opportunities that create moments and create goals. The physicality is so important because it sets the tone, but because it also creates the transition moments for St. Louis to play direct. Kansas City is going to have the ball. They like to play in possession. If you can turn them over in unexpected spots and hit the ball direct, over the top of those center backs' heads, that's where they struggle. Defending in space, defending 1v1, and St. Louis City, their MO is pretty simple. When we win the ball, we go to goal. We're not dilly-dallying, messing around. Make the pass, play it over the top, one pass, one dribble, shoot. And when that happens, they're very, very effective, and so much of that comes from that physicality. So stick with it.
Andrew Wiebe from the MLS Season Pass, host and analyst. And Andrew, we saw last night Sporting KC take it to penalty kicks and win it in penalty kicks after a 0-0 draw. Is that a style that could work for Sporting KC in a series like this?
It could work. I wouldn't bet on it working at CITYPARK, given the goal-scoring volume we've seen there this year and the way the two games between the two teams have gone. But I'm very curious in these three-game series to see how road teams in particular approach leg one, knowing if you can get to 90 minutes in a draw, whether it's 0-0, 1-1, whatever, you can get $10 million between the pipes in a penalty shootout. He's 7-0 all time. He's the best penalty stopper in the history of Major League Soccer. That is not a debatable point. That's just a straight-up fact. Now, the other fact is that Roman Berkey is Tim Melia's equal, in particular from the run of play. When you watch the first three games between these two teams, there is one difference maker that's there in every single game that changes games, and it is Roman Berkey. He has been absurd so far in this rivalry. Absolutely unbelievable, some of the saves that he made. So you can say the scoreline, you can say that St. Louis is dominated. Certainly the aggregate tells you that. But I don't think that takes into account how brilliant Berkey has been. And if he is not as good as he was in those three games, this could have been a different story.
Well, I was going to ask you what was going to be the X factor, who's going to be the X factor for both of these clubs. So you mentioned Roman Berkey. Is there an X factor too for City SC? And for Sporting Kansas, who or what is their X factor?
Johnny Russell, for me, for Kansas City, is the X factor. No Johnny Russell in that third game, the one we saw on September 30th. We've seen his form, his ability to impact matches, and just his personality. And that's what the playoffs demands. Somebody to grab games by the scruff of their necks. The flip side for City, the X factor for me is Sam Adeniran. He has played his very best against Sporting. Now, I know that they started Nico Gioacchini, and they've sort of been shuffling here in these last two games of the regular season. But if I'm Bradley Carnell, I go back to the well. You want a direct player that's good over the top in 1v1 situations. I would go João Klaus and Sam Adeniran up top, be ready to play direct over the top. And we know Klaus's quality. Saw the 2 goals against Kansas City on September 30th. Adeniran has been a monster against these rivals across I-70. So I would go with those two. And for me, it's Johnny Russell and Sam Adeniran as your X factor.
Andrew, I'm intrigued to know what Kansas City fans think of St. Louis calling it Sporting Kansas. I hear every time we say Kansas, you make sure you say Sporting KC.
Is that a thing? I didn't know. I was running with it here.
It's a dig because, you know, we just, that's what they're called. And we that's what we call them here. And it's a dig. And I wanted to know what Sporting KC fans, if they knew that, if so, what they thought of that.
You know, I can't speak for Sporting Kansas City fans. I'm not one. I'm not in Kansas City. But if I was to guess, and I got my finger on the Twitter pulse in Major League Soccer, I would guess that there is a little bit of, to put it mildly, annoyance. To put it at a higher level. Not hatred, but, maybe flirting with someday being in that emotional state. But that's the way this is supposed to be, right?
That's what we're going for, yes. That's what a rivalry is. Man. Borderline hate.
This is sports. It's not that serious. It's a place for all of us to escape a little bit and, look down the interstate and say, oh, those guys who can't say the word city, or, oh, those guys who think they're the soccer capital of America. Like, let's humble them a little bit. And just imagine the cavalcade of people that's going to be going back and forth here over the course of the next 2 Sundays to each stadium, the tailgates, the banter, but also the hospitality. Like, I cannot wait for this. I know what this game means to both cities. I know what it means to both fan bases, and to get it in the very first moment for St. Louis in MLS in the playoffs just ramps it all up to another level. It is, for me, by far the best first-round matchup in these MLS Cup playoffs. It is not even close. It is Sporting Kansas City, St. Louis, and then it is the rest of the pack. I cannot wait for it, and I think it's going to be the foundation of what is already a very special rivalry for years and decades to come.
Andrew, last thing. Tomorrow night, a couple of teams that both lost 100 games 2 years ago, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers, will start the World Series. 2 years from now, 2025, 40 years later, I-70 series revisited, Royals and Cardinals. What do you think?
Oh, man. Best fans in baseball, huh, guys? No, I'm just kidding, man. I hated Cardinals fans growing up. Are you kidding me? I had to deal with the worst team in Major League Baseball, and you guys just humbled us all the time. Every time Cardinals fans came to the K, it was embarrassing, both for our team and because you guys wouldn't zip your lips, let's just say. So I can't wait for it. But remember, the Royals were a 100-loss team, and we went and won the World Series. So I got a special place in my heart for these two teams in the World Series, but I'm a soccer guy now, so in college basketball. Go Jayhawks!
Andrew, have a great day, man. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it,
Andrew.
Always fun.
Yeah, we'll be tuned in. Andrew Wiebe from MLS Season Pass. He's great to have.
He's going to start a riot. He's going to have people telling him, "Don't have him on the celebrity line." Missouri fans, you guys are crazy. You're crazy, man.
You know what? I really think if you go to any Power 5 school, that their fans are crazy, because that team's not going anywhere. If you went to a school, you make an emotional investment, not just with the teams, but with the school. That's where you build kind of a foundation for your life. So to see Mizzou fans do this, I've seen that Texas fans have done this. I've seen that Oklahoma fans. I don't know if Illinois cares that much.
They do it too. It's strange. It's the strangest thing in the world. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what school you're at. It is extremely lame to do that.
It is. But I don't think it's indigenous just to Missouri fans.
No. We're just talking about Mizzou because they're the latest ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic on 101 ESPN.
This is Rocc with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. We now have the opponent for City's first ever playoff game Sunday night, 9 p.m. It'll be Sporting Kansas traveling to the other side of the state to face off against St. Louis City SC again in their first ever playoff game. You want to hear a breakdown of that match, and go to the Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast later on today and hear Carrie, Brooke, and Randy talk it over with MLS Season Pass host and analyst Andrew Wiebe. And Blues back in action tonight, facing off against the Calgary Flames. 8 p.m. puck drop, 7 p.m. pregame right here on 101 ESPN. You can hear more Blues talk by staying tuned and listening to Athletic Insider Jeremy Rutherford, or you can go back to the 101 ESPN.com and our Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast and listen to Bernie Federko earlier in the show. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff. Find your road and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Notes and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Jeremy Rutherford joins us now, our Blues insider from The Athletic on 101 ESPN. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Happy hump day, Randy.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, brother. You know, I am so excited. I thought there were 2 days left in this work week, and now that I know there's only one, I'm a really happy camper.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and hey, when Bernie Federko has to correct you, I don't know that he knows what day it is.
That's funny. Jeremy, you just have an article. You just had an article that just came out on The Athletic talking about the NHL Edge, which was unveiled by the league earlier this week, and it's interesting because it's a sophisticated puck and player tracking technology, and it specifically also gives you some advanced statistics, including O-zone and D-zone times, which is something that I think people are looking at with the Blues in these first few games. Is there anything alarming that you've noticed with NHL Edge and some of the things you're seeing with the Blues?
Yeah, definitely, Brooke. And this is something that the NHL has been working on for years and years. I did a story a couple of years ago for The Athletic about them putting these sensors into the sweaters, also into the puck. And that's how this technology is tracked for people who are kind of catching up on what NHL Edge is. They want to monitor these stats and be able to provide them to the fans. And so for years, I get a kick out of this because for years I've wanted to write, what's the Blues O-zone time? What's their D-zone time? And you never knew what it is. I've actually gone back to video with a stopwatch, and as soon as they cross the blue line, okay, start, hit start, hit stop, and try to come up with their O-zone time. But now the league's providing that. It'll get more sophisticated. But, Brooke, the initial stats that they produced this week, I looked at them yesterday at the NHL.com website, and it shows, in fact, what we've all seen the first 5 games with the Blues games, that they have not been in the O-zone a lot. In fact, they've been in the offensive zone about 35% of the time that they have the puck, which is dead last in the league. Conversely, they've been in their own defensive zone about 45% of the time, which is third worst in the league. So nothing that should surprise anybody who's been watching the games, but you have confirmation here with this stat package.
JR, how do they fix that? Because obviously you can't score if you're not in the offensive zone. So how do they fix that?
Well, Kerry, I think, we all know what kind of system they're playing now, and we do know that the Blues are going to be okay with teams handling the puck in their zone as long as they protect the middle. We've been talking about that for 3 weeks now. But the thing is, I talked to Robert Thomas the other day, and you guys had him on as well. They need to be more aggressive in certain spots. So the way this system works is that if there's a loose puck or there's an opportunity to kind of pounce on something, they've got to do that. They can't constantly be on their heels, even though that's what they're kind of set up to do, is block shots. And the other thing is, we saw it on that 4-on-4 goal the other night that was scored against the Blues in Winnipeg, that gave the Jets the 3-1 lead, is Nick Leddy had a chance to clear the puck. If you've got a chance to clear the puck, and I realize it doesn't happen all the time, it has to get done. That's why Craig Berube was so upset with that goal. The Blues got back in the game later, but it was just a tough goal to give up. So the thing is, to me, in this system, be aggressive when you can be, and if you have an easy play to make it.
JR, in terms of individuals and their ability to hang on to the puck and maintain that offensive zone time, did anybody surprise or disappoint you with either how effective they were despite the Blues' struggles with offensive zone possession time, or the inability to maintain puck possession in the offensive zone?
Yeah, we get so spoiled watching David Perron, right? All those years he's able to hold the puck in the offensive zone, kind of protect it, shield the puck. Pat Maroon was good at that. You had that third line in 2019 that did such a good job. I just think the Blues on a whole, Randy, haven't done a good job in the offensive zone. And you can point to the top guys. Like you can point to Thomas and Kyrou. They should be better at kind of hanging on to that thing. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that Craig Berube mentioned yesterday, and I agree with him, is they're not getting enough separation. So get the puck into the offensive zone, whether it be the forecheck or the rush. Take the puck down low, get the puck back to the D where you have that separation between the forward down low and the defenseman up high. Then you get their defense chasing a little bit. And Craig Berube even mentioned, go D to D, move it quick, get that defense, trying to chase you. The Blues haven't done that. When they get down there, as they've said a bunch, it's one and done, which means take a shot, goalie kicks out the rebound, defense clears it, and it's going back the other way. Or if the Blues do get somewhat established in the offensive zone, Randy, they're making a bad pass. Craig said the other day the passing has been atrocious. So to me, that's where the problem lies.
Well, and it looks like coming out of practice yesterday that Craig Berube is trying to switch some things around, making some changes to the Blues lineup, which I know that it will happen throughout the entire season, but especially after what you saw in that loss to Winnipeg, it looks like he's changing up the bottom two forward lines and the bottom defensive pair, and even you had Scott Prunovich with Tyler Tucker. What do you think of those changes and what he's looking for there?
Yeah, a couple things here. So I think they have to make changes. I mean, 2-3 games, okay, the offense isn't clicking. Once you get to 5-6 games, I think if things aren't clicking, you got to make some changes. Now you're making changes to your bottom six, so I don't know that you can expect this to all of a sudden ignite a 5-goal game here. But he's making some changes. It looks like he'll have Neighbors, who played really well. I thought he was one of the Blues' best players against Winnipeg on that third line. It looks like Toropchenko will be on that line as well. Again, very deserving, one of the Blues' best players the other night with Hayes in the middle. And then on the fourth line, Vrana and Blais will be with Sundqvist, it appears. And with Vrana, this one's a little bit puzzling to me. Like, I don't think he deserves to be higher in the lineup or he's playing well or anything like that. But if anybody would have said that Jacob Vrana would have been on your fourth line with Blais and Sundqvist, I think you would have scratched your head. So he didn't play much the other night. Not a lot of even strength ice time. He did have that penalty that was costly when the Blues were on the power play. It looked a little incidental to me, but maybe more than meets the eye on that penalty, but not up to snuff. And so it looks like he's been pushed down. And then as far as the defense, I just think it's time. It's not that anybody's playing poorly, especially in that bottom pair. But I think that you got to get Robert Bortuzzo in there, I think, at some point, and even Scott Prunovich. Will probably see at least Bortuzzo tonight, if not both of them, as Craig Berube looks to make a change.
JR, what are your thoughts on Kevin Hayes so far this season?
Yeah, to me, he hasn't done much. I think in the preseason, I think that line with Sammy Blais and Vrana looked pretty good. We're talking about puck possession here and offensive zone time. That line, Kerry, had the best O-zone time, I think, of any line in the exhibition games. And, not that they were scoring a ton, but they were keeping it in there and starting to create some chances. I think when Hayes came to St. Louis, even the national media, they were saying, okay, at a discount price, this guy's not a bad pickup. But to me, there just hasn't been anything that's caught my eye in terms of, okay, now he's the style that they're looking for. He's the guy who can solidify that third line. He's the guy who can make players better around him. I just haven't seen that yet.
JR, as always, great work. Thanks so much for the time. We do appreciate it, and have a great Thursday.
Sounds good. You got it right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Talk to you later.
See you. Blues Insider Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic on 101 ESPN. As we head down the stretch, we've got a little rock and roll, and we're going to give away some Metallica tickets next on 101 ESPN.
and roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Got rock and roll, but we've got your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Metallica on Sunday night, November 5th at the Dome at America's Center. They're playing a huge no-repeat weekend on the 3rd and the 5th. 2 different sets, 2 different opening acts. Tickets on sale, and single show tickets are on sale now. Get all the details and find a bonus chance to win a pair of free tickets for Metallica now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app. So if you want to see Metallica on Sunday night, November 5th, text in now with the number of items that Carrie is going to answer.
No, it's
Brooke
Oh,
today.
it's Brooke today.
Brooke's doing it today. And Brooke, what are you guessing?
Text in 314-399-9646 or
Just drew it.
Yeah.
EPL teams. So the Premier League. That's my British accent.
That is that's one hell of an accent. So
I'm so glad I didn't
Brooke
get
is
that
guessing
one.
between
Premier
one.
League? How do you say it? Can you give me a British accent?
Premier League.
That was
Premier
actually really
League.
good. There are 20 teams in the EPL this season, as there are
Okay.
every season. So, Brooke, you are going to be guessing between 0 and 20 teams. So, everyone, put out your guess on the text line right now to guess how many EPL teams. That's English Premier League.
Premier League.
That Brooke can name in 30 seconds. Brooke, are you ready?
Yes, I got
for
my
this
timer
soccer
going.
trivia. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Fulham. Clint Dempsey is a favorite of mine, so that's why I know Fulham. Liverpool. Chelsea.
Go use Spurs.
Wait, no. Tottenham. Spurs. The Tottenham Spurs are actually doing very well. This accent's not going well. I don't know. That's what I got.
7 out of 20.
Pretty good. Yeah,
Tottenham.
you got 7 out of 20.
I would have gotten 0.
That's really
Did you
good,
guys like
Brooke.
my accent?
Nice. Well done. Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm actually a big fan of like British TV shows and different things like that. This is actually a fun fact about me. I love watching
Love
British
Island
stuff.
UK?
Yes.
That show is. I've watched.
Oh, my.
I hate myself, Carrie, but there are 3 seasons of that show that I
even
watched the
heard of
whole
it.
damn
You
thing
haven't?
because it's hilarious. The accents
are amazing.
I can listen to it for hours, Carrie. I hate myself for. That's the one piece of reality TV shows that I've actually like let myself enjoy is Love Island UK. It's ridiculous.
They do TV well
Brooke
over there.
got Man U, Man City, Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Fulham. I know Chris Kerber somewhere is
Liverpool.
smiling a big smile considering you got Fulham. So 7 for Brooke Grimsley. Brooke, good job.
Tottenham
Nice.
Spurs.
I
The
would've-
Tottenham Spurs.
I would have gotten 0.
Hotspurs.
You missed out on Liverpool. That's
I thought I said
She said
Liverpool.
Okay, I'm just thinking.
The only big one she missed was. She got all the big ones. You got Man City, Man U,
West
Guys,
Tottenham, Liverpool,
you could tell
Arsenal,
me some of the
Fulham,
other
Chelsea.
ones. What are some of the other ones?
Brighton.
Hove and Albion,
There's
West
a
Ham,
West up. Oh yeah, West Ham.
Crystal Palace, as I like to call them, Crystal Palace.
Nottingham.
Brentford. There's Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Aston
There's a
Villa,
Nottingham Palace.
Aston Villa,
Bournemouth.
Newcastle,
I would have.
the Wolverhampton Wolves.
Thank you for taking that one. I'm so glad I didn't get that one. They'd have
Bournemouth.
been mad at me. I'm settled.
Actually, did they say
the
Booth?
Premier League.
It's not Bournemouth, it's Bournemouth, isn't it? Is it like Bournemouth? Like it's not in the mouth. Sheffield United, Everton, Luton Town, and Burnley are all the bottom clubs that I never would have guessed any American
Best
actually know
player
them at all.
ever to come out of Fulham.
Yeah, it's Clint Dempsey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Big Clint Dempsey fan over here.
Somewhere Chris Kerber is again screaming at his radio in just pure happiness that Brooke knew Fulham and knew Clint Dempsey.
I loved Clint Dempsey growing up watching him.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
By the
Great
way,
story too.
We were getting a lot of texts about the Ryan Wingo news, and one of the big things that people were complaining about, I'm not saying they had a right to complain about it, but that's what they were complaining about, was the report that Ryan Wingo apparently asked a bunch of Mizzou recruits and commits to come to SLU for the announcement. Brendan Schaefer, who works at KTGR in Columbia, says that he has a source from the SLU program that said he did not invite a bunch of recruits and commits to watch an announcement that apparently he knew was not going to be going to Mizzou. So that I just kind of wanted to get that out there because that I've seen that from a lot of our texters, from a lot of people on Twitter. Apparently that little wrinkle is false.
Y'all ever play the game telephone when you were younger?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
You know how,
I think they taught us about how rumors and are bad.
How the story changes from one end to the complete other end. It's like the words aren't even the same. It's pretty amazing.
That's how that typically goes. I didn't, and I saw a lot of people saying that, and I just keep consistently saying that people had an issue with, I guess he had a recruiting visit recently with Mizzou and also with Texas and that different kind of stuff. To me, it all sounds like normal recruiting stuff when you're trying to narrow down the process, unless I'm missing something, but it all sounds to me like a normal when you're going between the two schools, and I think everybody was well aware it was going to come down to Mizzou and Texas, that's what you do, that you're trying to figure out. And sometimes it is last minute with those decisions.
Exactly. So
absolutely. And one other thing, I got into a little thing yesterday on Twitter.
Kerfuffle?
Yeah, I forget it was a kerfuffle. Because, listen, soccer fans did great this year. I didn't get any like, hey, no, you don't know soccer, stop talking about it. We didn't get that nearly as often as I thought we would. But yesterday when we were talking about who we'd want to see, I eventually got in an argument with a City fan who was like, yeah, but soccer rivalries and derbies, they're just different than every other sport. And again, it's a different sport, but don't act like Americans because we don't have soccer don't understand how intense like geographic rivalries can be. This guy threw out all these legendary rivalries that have been going on for years, Randy, and they show how soccer derbies and rivalries are different than every other sport. Every single one of the rivalries he threw out has been played for about 30 years less than the freaking Iron Bowl. Do not act like, yes, fine. The Cardinals and the Cubs is never going to reach the level of like the Milan clubs over there.
Why?
Fine.
Why not?
Because no one here is going to start throwing glass bottles in the middle of the stadium.
Oh, so that's a good thing?
No, it's not a good thing. I'm just saying it's not. That's the level people are talking. Like there's other teams in like Turkey where if they have a rivalry game that gets way too intense and there's too many fights, the next time they play the rivalry game, Turkey says no fans.
I don't think that makes it good.
You don't want that good level. Listen, we've been doing things like, again, the Iron Bowl for over 130 years. We don't need to learn about how different and intense rivalry games are.
We kill trees over it.
Americans have a pretty good grasp on that just because we haven't been playing soccer for the last 100 years. It's ridiculous that people think that, like, this derby thing, like, people don't understand. Derbies are different. It's like, no, it's a rivalry game. We know what those look like. I've been watching the Bears and Packers play for a very small amount of the time that they've been playing each other.
To each their own,
pretty
though.
intense.
They're proud of what they've watched over the years.
I know, but
everybody likes to think their thing is the best, but some people are wrong.
There's no need to be a hippie about the sport, or maybe as Brooke put it the other day, no need to be a pick-me.
Yes, no pick-me's.
No pick-me's.
No.
At all.
Fair enough. I'm with you. And I'm sure the rivalries are wonderful.
They're intense, but in a way that I don't know is the most fun. Like, there's some of the rivalry games where a team will sit, all the fans will be behind one goal, and all the fans will be behind another goal, and no one will sit in the middle of the stands because that's how far you can chuck a beer bottle.
I think it's a smart move.
Can you imagine, though, if you're one of the fans of that group who's got a cannon of an arm?
Oh, yeah.
You must be everyone's favorite person.
Yeah, no doubt. That's our producer, audio engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocc. Great job, as always.
Pleasure.
Brooke, was this fun?
Chip, chip, cheerio.
How about that?
You should have clipped that one.
Cheerio. CD?
Show us your face. We want to see your face. Who said that? You want to see my face?
And we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show, as always. For all of us, until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great Friday Eve, St. Louis.
That's right.